here at the College Basketball Experience here in Kansas City, Missouri. For those in attendance, we do have water, tea, and lemonade over to the right side, as well as restrooms behind the curtain over here to my right. Before we hear from our Lakeside coaches, I'd like to introduce the MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy. Mike Racy became the 5th full-time commissioner of the MIAA on September 7, 2016. He began his tenure on February 1st, 2017. Mike earned his undergraduate degree in business from Washington University and graduated from the University of Missouri Kansas City Law School. Mike is an accomplished education, legal, and sports executive with more than 20 years of leadership experience in higher education. As an attorney, University Vice President, American Council on Education Fellow, and NCAA executive, Mike has dedicated his career to improving the collegiate experience for student athletes and coaches. Ladies and gentlemen, MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy.
Thank you, Marshall. I'd also like to welcome everyone here to 2021 MIAA Basketball Media Day. It's really good to be together in person doing this event. Last year, as many of you know, we were doing this by Zoom, a virtual media day, and it's good to have everyone back together again. I'd also like to thank our presenting sponsor for Media Day again this year, the law firm, the Kansas City law firm, Seigfreid, Bingham. I'd also like to recognize Kevin Henderson and his staff here at the College Basketball Experience. Thank them for their hospitality and their support of MIAA basketball. Hello to all of our fans watching today's event live on the MIAA network. Just a reminder, if any of you watching has a coach or a question for our coach or any of our coaches, feel free to tweet the question and use the hashtag AskMIAA. Again, that's hashtag AskMIAA. We'll be monitoring those questions this morning, and if yours gets asked, we'll send you some merchandise from the MIAA office. I'd also like to acknowledge the great work by our staff, the MIAA staff, in putting together today's event. It takes a lot of work. A number of weeks goes into planning something like this. I'd like to thank Amber Feldman, Marshall Fay, Brenna Wynn, and Aubrey Torkelson for all of their efforts and work from the MIAA office. I'd also like to thank our MIAA network producers, Darren Plummer and Tristan Borelli, for being with us today. Thanks for everything that you do in bringing this broadcast to our MIAA fans all across the world. Is Eddie Jackson here? I'd like to introduce our supervisors. I think I saw Greg. We have both our supervisors and officials are supposed to be with us today. Eddie Jackson. As many of you know, Eddie worked a long time as a Division I basketball official for the Big 12, the Big 10, and Conference USA. Eddie worked 9 straight NCAA tournaments, 2 Elite 8 games, and he currently serves as the coordinator of basketball officials for the Missouri Valley Conference, the MIAA, and the Great American Conference. Eddie's also a member of the NCAA Men's Basketball Rules Committee. Greg Small, I did see Greg earlier. Greg is the coordinator of our women's basketball officials. Does that for the MIAA and also the Great American Conference. Greg served more than 30 years as an on-court basketball official. He worked 17 NCAA Division I women's basketball tournaments and officiated the women's Final Four in 2001, 2002, and 2004. We appreciate Greg and Eddie's work very much, and any of the media that are with us today have any questions for Greg regarding officiating or basketball rules, we'll be happy to get you with them to have those conversations. As we begin today's Media Day, I think it's appropriate to take a look back on last year, a very challenging year in all of college athletics, and certainly one that the MIAA soldiered through, and very proud of our athletic trainers, our administrators, coaches, student athletes, with how they dealt with COVID-19 last season. Some of you know the MIAA was the first Division I or Division II conference to adopt conference-wide protocols for the safe return to competition last year in men's and women's basketball. MIAA schools returned to competition November 19th, which was 4 days before the start of the regular season for the Big 12 Conference. In basketball, the MIAA last year scheduled 161 men's games and 161 women's games, 308 total, and 14 tournament contests, total of 322 MIAA games. We completed all 322 of those. During the regular season, we had some challenges. We had 45 basketball games, 22 men's contests, 23 women's contests that were postponed and needed to be rescheduled. All of those postponed contests were eventually played. Some teams playing 3 or 4 games during the week, but all postponed games were eventually played during the regular season. Thus, all of our MIAA men's and women's programs competed in the NCAA Division II maximum of 22 countable contests last season. There were only 2 other NCAA conferences that were able to complete all of their scheduled basketball contests last year: the Big 12 in women's basketball and the Missouri Valley in men's basketball. As I said, the MIAA did that in both men's and women's basketball. Last year, in a shortened season with limited fans, once again the MIAA led all of NCAA Division II in attendance. That's the 12th consecutive year that the MIAA men's and women's basketball has led the country in attendance. Last season, Northwest Missouri State won its 3rd National Men's Basketball Championship in the past 4 tournaments. It was the conference's 7th NCAA basketball championship in the past 15 years. That includes the Washburn women, Emporia State women, UCM men, UCM women in Northwest Missouri State in 2017, 2019, and 2021. Last season, the MIAA had 3 different women's basketball programs win a championship. Fort Hays State won the regular season conference championship. Nebraska Kearney won the conference tournament championship, and UCM won the regional championship. I don't know that's ever been done before in a women's basketball conference. What's new for the MIAA? It's an exciting time in college athletics. A lot of changes are taking place. A lot of changes, I think, that are very beneficial for student athletes in all 3 divisions. The MIAA is one of only 2 NCAA Division II conferences that has announced a conference-wide name, image, and likeness program. The MIAA program is a partnership with Empower U, where the conference receives ongoing professional services focused on NIL education and compliance initiatives. The NIL services for the MIAA focus on coach and student-athlete NIL education, NIL resources for member schools, and MIAA institutional compliance. As far as our approach in the MIAA to NIL, or name, image, likeness, we hope to be the destination conference for any student-athlete that wants to receive a quality education, compete for national championships, and maximize their name, image, likeness opportunities. Some believe NIL opportunities are only available to Division I football and basketball student athletes. I disagree for 3 primary reasons. 1, the MIAA is one of the few intercollegiate conferences where every season in almost every sport, an MIAA member school has a realistic opportunity to compete for a national title. In many of these championships, our student athletes compete in front of national television audiences. What great exposure for MIAA student athletes. Number two, during the regular season, you will compete in front of some of the most passionate fans in all of college sports. That's why the MIAA continues to lead the national attendance marks in football, men's and women's basketball. MIAA fans support their schools and they love their student athletes. And third, MIAA schools and communities are equipped and prepared to help student athletes be successful with NIL opportunities. Campus resources and community networks help students understand how to promote their brand, how to monetize their name, image, likeness, and how to protect and manage their finances. Let me finish with this. This week, the MIAA announced an extension of our partnership with Kansas City in men's and women's basketball. As we prepare to celebrate our 20th anniversary of the MIAA basketball tournament in downtown Kansas City next March, it's exciting to announce that the MIAA has entered a 3-year extension with Kansas City to continue to offer exciting men's and women's basketball conference championships in March at historic Municipal Auditorium. Kansas City is a great basketball town with more than 100,000 passionate MIAA alumni living in this greater metropolitan area, and we're thrilled to continue to offer MIAA basketball student athletes the chance to compete each March in one of the most historic and iconic basketball venues in the country. The 2022 MIAA Men's and Women's Basketball Championship, presented by Citizens Bank and Trust, will occur this March 2nd through the 6th. We have our basketball, men's and women's basketball brackets up if you'd like to take a look at those over here. All right, let's get to the point while we're here to preview the 2021-22 basketball season. And we have our coaches and media polls that we're releasing at this time. I believe that there's an announcement out on our website. Brenna has some copies of the polls if any of our media would like to take a look at this. In women's basketball, the polls for the coaches and the media mirror each other except for in the top position. In the coaches poll, Fort Hays State narrowly edged out Central Missouri for the top spot in the coaches poll. And in the media poll, Central Missouri and Fort Hays State tied at 118 votes each in the media poll. On the men's side, in the men's coaches poll and the media poll, Northwest holds the first slot. Washburn's at 2. And then the coaches poll and the media poll differ a little bit in 3, 4, and 5. The coaches poll has Central Oklahoma at 3, Missouri Southern at 4, Missouri Western at 5, and the media poll has Western at 3, Southern at 4, and Central Oklahoma at 5. Again, those polls are out, and certainly can find those on our website or check with Brenna if you need a copy of that. All right, I think we're ready to start. We'll introduce our moderators. We're very fortunate again this year to have 2 special people joining us today to help celebrate the kickoff of MIAA basketball. Couldn't think of better representatives of men's college basketball and women's college basketball than the 2 moderators we have today. John McCarthy, many of you know John is the face and voice of small college men's basketball. His passion and enthusiasm has generated great interest with small college basketball circles. John has served as an assistant coach, head coach, athletic development director, and athletic director, all at the small college level. He served on the NCAA Division II Men's Basketball National Committee. He created the Collegiate Basketball Invitational and has served as the director of the NAIA's Division I Men's Basketball Tournament. John is the founder of Small College Basketball and the Small College Basketball Foundation. Joining John is Brenda Van Langen, Brenda is an Emmy Award-winning college basketball broadcaster. She has worked as an ESPN women's college basketball analyst since 1996. She's been the analyst for several NCAA Division II championships and NAIA championships. During the regular season, Brenda covers games involving the American, Big 12, Big 10, Pac-12, Mountain West, and Southeastern Conference for a variety of networks, including working as a lead analyst for the Big 12 Conference women's basketball package on Fox Sports. In addition to basketball, she does play-by-play on NCAA softball, volleyball, and soccer television broadcasts. Prior to her broadcasting career, Brenda coached basketball for 8 seasons, including 5 at the University of Nebraska. And in 2008, Brenda was recognized as a distinguished alumni of the University of Nebraska-Kearney, where she endows a scholarship for the women's basketball program and where she was a 2-time academic All-American at UNK. So let me bring up Brenda and John to help us get started. Thank you.
Terrific. Well, thank you, Commissioner Racy, for the opportunity to be here today for the 2021 MIAA Basketball Media Day. It's a thrill to be here at the spectacular college basketball experience with all of you today and all those watching today on the MIAA network. I sincerely want to thank Commissioner Racy for the opportunity and incredible preparation for today's broadcast and today's Media Day. But I'd also like to thank Senior Associate Commissioner Amber Feldman, along with Marshall Fay, Brenna Wynn, and Audrey Torkelson as well. The staff here at the MIAA is fantastic and have us incredibly well prepared today. I do want to emphasize something that Commissioner Racy just mentioned as we begin today, that the championship for the MIAA will be held at Historic Municipal Auditorium. It will be the 19th time actually holding the tournament at Historic Municipal Auditorium. And for those of you that are basketball junkies, if you will, you understand the tremendous history at that arena and what a thrill it is for MIAA student athletes to be able to participate and play at such a wonderful venue. Importantly, I'd like to make sure that we thank today's presenting sponsor for the Media Day with Seigfreid Bingham, and thank you so much for your support here today with this wonderful event. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Brenda Van Lingen to get things started today. Thank you so much. We're going to have a great day today.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this. Really looking forward to today. And all of you joining on the MIAA network, make sure if you have questions throughout the course of the day, just use that hashtag AskMIAA. We'd love to hear from everybody that is watching and joining us. And it should be a great day. So, as was mentioned, I've been broadcasting for a number of years, and I'm really proud that I got my start at a school right here in the MIAA, and it happens to be our first school up today, Nebraska-Kearney. And so I'm going to welcome to the stage the women's head coach, Carrie Amy, and the men's head coach, Kevin Lofton. The Loper women finished the 2021 season with a record of 23-4 and won the MIAA tournament right here in Kansas City to make their first NCAA tournament appearance in 12 years. Carrie Amy is in her 7th year as the head coach for the Lopers. The Loper men went 8-14 in the 2021 season. This is Kevin Lofton's 5th year leading the Lopers and his 25th year being a part of the Nebraska-Kearney men's basketball staff. We will ask Coach Amy to get started talking about the upcoming season, and when she's finished with her remarks, then Coach Lofton, and then we'll take questions from the crowd. Go ahead, Coach.
Thank you. First of all, I'd just like to thank the MIAA for today, for this incredible Media Day. I'm not sure that there's anywhere else in the country that does it like we do, which says a lot about Mr. Racy and his staff. And so we just really appreciate the opportunity to be here in such an incredible venue and to get the season kicked off with such an incredible environment. I think, for us right now to start the season with just such a maybe a reminder of what a little bit of normal looks like has been really, really fun. So our preseason has been a lot of fun, and just a return to normal, I think, has been really good for our student athletes. We're looking forward to the upcoming season. We have quite a few returners, and with the COVID year, we don't have quite as many seniors as we expected to have this upcoming season. So we have a good balance of experience and also some talented newcomers. And so we're just looking forward to getting the season started, getting practice off to a great start here in the upcoming week. And yeah, we're just excited to get going.
Yeah, I'd like to, I guess, reiterate some of the same things Carrie had said. Obviously, I want to thank Mike Bracey and his staff. I know you guys put a lot of work into getting this set up for our conference, and it's a great event. I think she's hit it on the head right now. We're close to being normal as far as the way we're going about things. We feel like we're headed in the right direction as far as, you know, dealing with what we've had to the last couple of years when it comes to, you know, the virus and whatnot. You know, our situation as far as our basketball program, you know, it's a lot of fun for us right now because we have a lot of young kids. We brought in 6 freshmen, so, you know, they don't know what they don't know. So they're just freshmen, and you know, they bring a lot of energy and passion to the floor every day. So, you know, it's a good experience to be involved. It kind of reminds you what it's like to be a kid. Because some of the things they do and say, you know, really has you scratching your head. But we're excited about the year and looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right, we'll open it up to questions. And I do want to make sure I mention, for those of you watching on the MIAA network, besides just being cool that you can use the hashtag AskMIAA, if your question is used today, you will win a prize from the MIAA office. So I want to make sure that I got that in too. So we'll open it up to questions now. All right, I will start. Coach Amy, you mentioned that you are returning a lot of starters this year. What is your expectation after winning the tournament championship last year and returning so many? What are your expectations?
Well, I don't think it changes really. Our expectation is always be better than we were the day before, and I feel like that's kind of how we've gotten to where we are right now. And I feel like the upperclassmen, the returners, they've really embraced that, and they're hungry to get better. They're constantly working to try to improve and become more versatile and develop areas that they know maybe are some weaknesses. So it's kind of become the personality of our team to just really focus on what do we need to do right now to be better than we were yesterday. So I think that's the expectation, is to just be better than we were the day before and see where it takes us.
John?
So, Coach Lofton, you've got a lot of new guys coming in this year. Obviously, you have a few key guys back from last year. Talk about blending this new talent you have with the talent you have coming back from last year.
A lot of that starts in the locker room. I think we got some kids that are returning, Austin Luger, Darian Neviger, that have done a great job of leading by example to this point. And I think that's huge when you have a lot of new faces. If your leadership is strong, if your locker room is strong, then you have a better chance of being successful. So, you know, we're leaning heavily on our returners right now, and they're doing a heck of a job. So that's one thing. And then, you know, the things we do offensively, the things we do defensively, are things that, you know, you have to have 5 guys working together. We preach a lot about playing for each other, not with each other. And if that message gets across, then I think we'll be all right.
So quick follow-up on that. So as you lead into this season, what have been your points of emphasis with this group?
I mean, in this conference, you better find a way to defend and rebound. We spent a lot of time with a young group, transition defense, getting back, getting the ball stopped, getting our 5 against their 5. And then, you know, in this league, you see a lot of pick and roll. So we spent a lot of time on pick and roll defense, a lot of time on rebound, and just the defensive side of the ball, knowing that offense isn't always going to be there, so you have to find a way to stay in the game. I feel like defense is the way to do that.
Amber?
We do have a question from Twitter. Alex Hammicky asked a few. Coach Amy, can you kind of talk about the regional experience last year and facing Northern Sun schools and the differences in play between Northern Sun and MIAA institutions?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Maybe not the best question for me to answer because at the regional tournament we played a team that Minnesota Duluth that when we asked Toby Wynn at Emporia, what do you think of them? Because they just played them, he said, well, you're basically going to be playing yourselves. So I think Minnesota Duluth and UNK were very much the same team. I think it depends on, what team you're talking about in the Northern Sun. Over the past few years, I think, the MIAA has had a lot of success in the regional tournament against other conferences, whether it's the GAC or the Northern Sun, and I think that just has a lot to do with the level of competition that we're playing against day in and day out in the MIAA. The parity that exists, the depth of great teams and great coaches in our conference. To speak to the regional tournament specifically last year, it was a little bit different. There were only 6 teams. 4 of the teams were from the MIAA, and so we only saw Minnesota Duluth, and they were very, very talented and big like we were, and matched up with us fairly well. And so it was a battle for sure, and they were very well coached and talented, but I think both leagues have a lot of great teams. A lot of times it comes down to matchups.
So, Coach Lofton, you alluded to something a moment ago, and you mentioned about the MIAA. Can you just talk about the strength of the MIAA, and last year being a little bit of an anomaly with playing only MIAA schools last year due to the pandemic? If you don't mind, just talk a little bit about the strength of the MIAA in terms of basketball.
I don't know. I mean, I think every coach thinks that their team plays in the toughest conference in the country, but when you look at, I think we've won Northwest has won the national championship 3 out of the last 4 years. I know that Central Missouri won it a few years before that. Obviously, that speaks volumes, but I think the strength of our conference is in teams 5 through 14. I mean, obviously, our top 4 is really strong, but you look at 5 through 14, the margin for error there is very small, and I think that's where our conference has a real leg up on a lot of other conferences. I mean, it doesn't matter what place you're in this league. If you go somewhere and you're not ready to play, it's not going to end well, and I think that speaks volumes.
And I want to follow up and just ask both of you, because of the COVID year last year and restrictions and all the things that everybody had to go to, how does that change your outlook to this year? Is there kind of a greater appreciation for normalcy, and what are you doing with your teams to try to get back into that normal routine?
Yeah, I mean, I think players, coaches, we're all grateful, for the opportunity just to be on the court every day and to have it be a little bit more normal. Honestly, we haven't had to do a single thing to try to get them to fall back into the normal. They actually gravitate to that, and they've been, they've been better than ever in regards to playing with energy and just gratitude and being happy to be out there and to have the opportunity to engage with their teammates in a normal way and to be able to practice and work out in ways that they were able to before COVID.
Yeah, I agree. I think one, I've said it before, we have a lot of new guys. A lot of them are younger kids, freshmen. So they're raring to go every day. I mean, the only challenge for them is that we've been practicing in the morning quite a bit. They do not like to get out of bed. Other than that, it's been great, and we're looking forward to this year.
Awesome. Any other questions? I know we're about out of time. Would you like to say anything about your alumni base here in Kansas City or anything like that?
Absolutely. Brenda has been a very supportive alum of UNK.
Yeah, I just had to do that, a little self-serving. All right, thank you very much, UNK, University of Nebraska-Kearney. And up next, I'll let John introduce our next team. I kept that up there, so that's
So we'd like to welcome Missouri Southern to the stage with the head women's coach, Ronnie Russell, and the head men's coach, Jeff Boschee. As they're making their way up to the stage, I'd like to give you a little update on last year's season. Missouri Southern women finished the 2021 season with a record of 9-14, making it to the first round of the MIAA tournament. Coach Russell's in his 5th season leading the Lions and his 9th overall with the program. The Missouri Southern men went 13-10 last season and also making it to the MIAA tournament quarterfinals. Coach Jeff Boschee's in his 8th season as the head coach for the Lions and his 13th year overall with the program. Coach Russell, if you want to go ahead with opening comments, please.
Just want to, again, thank Mike Racy and the staff for putting on such a great event. I mean, like they said earlier, just the experience for our kids and the coaches to be up here, it's just like a Division I experience as far as the media day and then also with our conference tournament, which, we, again, like we talked about, coming to Municipal again. We missed it last year. We're excited to be back coming to Municipal. So we're just excited about the season kicking off, have a normal one as much as possible that we can go through and enjoy, and the kids can have a great year playing in a great league.
Same, just to piggyback off Ronnie, I think everyone's obviously excited about the season starting, and got a bunch of new guys. We actually got a lot of returning guys, but fairly young. I think we've got 7 seniors when you count our COVID, or excuse me, 7 freshmen when you count our COVID freshmen. So, you know, losing a lot with losing Cam, but excited about possibilities of this team and some things that we can do.
Any questions from media?
Coach Boschee, obviously you just mentioned losing Cam, but you brought in a lot of new guys last year that kind of filled in around him. What do you see from those guys, and what have you seen about how they're kind of ready to take that next step now without Cam in the lineup?
Well, you know, just talking with people around town and with you know, just assistant coaches, I think, you know, sometimes you know, kind of had that security blanket of Cam. Was struggling to score the basketball, you know, give him the basketball and let him go to work and score the basketball. You know, sometimes it's hard for players, and, you know, when I was an assistant with Coach Korn, after Jason Adams and Keen Tolman and those guys left, you know, guys like Marcus Addison and Jordan Talbert, their junior years, trying to step up and kind of being the man, and they struggled a little bit in that position. The next year, Coach Korn's last year, they figured it out, and we brought in some pieces to help it out. But, you know, we need guys like Christian, Bundy, and Stan, and RJ, and Lawson, some of those guys that saw a lot of playing time last year, to be able to step up into that bigger role. And, you know, I think with Cam being such a security blanket for us, I think a lot of guys like maybe Stan and Bundy weren't able to show some of the things that they were able to do as much, and hopefully they can get that done this year.
This is for both of you, but I remember, I'm back here, sorry. I remember last year there was a little bit of frustration just that you guys didn't get some of those games against non-conference opponents early on. How excited are you guys to be able to play outside of the conference and maybe get some experience before you head into conference play this year?
I think it's huge. I think we're going to be lucky enough this year. We're going to host the MIAA GAC Challenge with Emporia State at our place, and we got Henderson State and Harding coming in, which is going to be, you know, those two of the better teams in the GAC. So playing those non-conference games is huge before you get to start conference play. So you get a feel on what your kids can do, and like Coach Boschee said, with some new kids, we've got 6 new kids coming in. So some of those freshmen will get some experience and understand what it takes to play college basketball. And having those non-conference games, you get a chance to learn a little bit. You get a chance to learn about your team a little bit as well, what we can do and what we can't do before we get into the playoff conference, which everybody in our league knows it's one of the best conferences in the country. So I think it's huge that we get to play non-conference just to get the feel of it.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think the first weekend, coming up here to Kansas City and Coach Anderson and Pitt State putting on the tournament or the crossover challenge that they're doing is going to be a lot of fun. Being able to get on the road and travel a little bit before conference season starts and just having a little bit of time before you jump right into the conference season, trying to get your know your players a little bit better and how they're working together and try to figure things out before conference play starts.
Coach Russell, I know you have a young team this year. What have you seen from those that are returning, stepping up in some leadership roles to mentor that young group?
I think my returning kids, our upperclassmen, have done an unbelievable job of explaining and showing what it takes as far as to be able to compete and play at the college level. They've done a great job of communicating that as well, day in, day out, with not only in our workouts but on their own as far as when they get in the gym and get shots up. They understand that we can't go half speed. When you're getting shots up, you got to go full speed. So our returning kids on the floor, in the weight room, and even in the classroom, and explaining what it takes to be a college athlete and how you got to take care of yourself, both mentally and physically, they've done a great job of.
So for both of you, I've got one. I spoke with a lot of coaches in the last season, talked about how much of a challenge it was working through the COVID scenario. But I also heard from a number of coaches that said, as we step back and reflected on this, we learned to appreciate the game and the opportunity to play and not taking some things for granted. So I just want to hear from each of you a little bit about what you may have learned or maybe even appreciated from last year's season and what you had to go through and dealt with.
Go ahead. I think just kind of what you said. We tell our guys all the time to, understand how fortunate you are to be in the position that you're in. And, we were pretty fortunate, and I think pretty much everybody in the MIAA was pretty fortunate with being able to get all 22 games in and then being able to play in a regional tournament. And, there's some things that had to get moved around, and I thought Mike and the whole conference did a really good job of taking care of all that stuff. But, just being able to get out there and play. I missed the first 4 games due to my wife being quarantined, and, I learned a lot about my team in those 4 games, and had some pretty rough moments in my offense by myself, but it was definitely just very appreciative that the fact that we got to play, and it was kind of a cross your fingers every week to make sure nobody tested positive and that you're able to play for the week, but it was just a blessing that we were able to go out there and play.
I reiterate the same thing Coach Boshi was. I think our kids understand how fragile life is and how quickly things can change, how things can be taken away in a snap of a moment, that you got to appreciate the little things that you get to do. Being a college athlete, you get right to that aspect that you're special in that mindset, and you got to take advantage of every opportunity that you have. And with COVID from last year, like Coach said, you never knew from week to week when you got tested whether he was going to test positive or not. We were lucky; it kind of hit us early in the year, and we didn't have to deal with anybody being sick. But it's still prevalent. But it's at the same time, I think we understand that as far as the importance of taking care of ourselves a little bit better, physically and mentally, I think it's going to be huge. And attack each day like it's make it the best you can do.
You have one, Amber?
Yeah, sorry. I do have one from Sean Buck from Twitter. This is for both of you, but what is we know everybody likes to play at home. What is your favorite arena to play in on the road, and what makes it your favorite?
Really, everywhere we go in the MIAA is fun, because, like Mike said at the beginning, we were number 1 in the conference in attendance, and pretty much everywhere we go, it's well attended, and Hayes is always fun. Just the fact that it's such a big arena, and they do a great job of putting people in the stands. Going to Northwest is obviously fun because they're because of the way they pack their arena and how successful they've been. So, just being able to play in any arena in the MIAA, I think, is fun for us.
I agree. Any league, any team we go to, as far as the fans, they're great. We have big crowds at everywhere we go. You got the old gym, like Emporia, with their white auditorium, the historia there. Or you go out to Hayes, like Coach said, they pack the house. Going to Lincoln, especially if you catch Lincoln once spring semester's in and their band is there, is a lot of fun. The noise that they can make. It's every place we go to, it's a challenge, but it's a lot of fun.
So we just have time for one more, I believe, and I want to throw one more to both of you. You have a very active media in Joplin. There's obviously an active media here in Kansas City. What are you not asked? What do you want the public to know about your team, your guys, your program? What do you want people to know that you're not often asked about?
We got great kids. We do hundreds of hours of community service in the community of Joplin. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, just having great kids and having kids that are fun to be around, and they do their part in the community and try to make a difference.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. We do have great kids. They do great in the academics. They do great on the floor, and they do great in community. It's one of those that our community service, we try to do multiple things, and they do a great job of doing those things. And with our kids, one of the things I don't have a problem with any one of my young ladies coming over and take care of looking after my son if we need to go out. Pam and myself want to go out for a date, which doesn't happen very often, but I don't have any problem with any of my kids being able to come over and take care of Christopher and keep an eye on him, and I know he's going to be safe.
Well, terrific. Coach Boshi, Coach Ressel from Missouri Southern, thank you so much for being here. Best wishes this season. We'll bring up Brenda again to welcome Pitt State. Thank you.
All right, we will welcome up Pittsburgh State head women's coach, Amanda David, and head men's coach, Kim Anderson. Hello. As they come to the stage, I'll read a few remarks. Remember to keep my reading glasses on. The Gorilla women went 14-9 during the 2021 season, making it to the first round of the MIAA tournament. Amanda David begins her third season as head coach for her alma mater, and she's been a member of the staff for 17 seasons. The Gorilla men finished the 2021 season with a record of 10-12. Kim Anderson is in his fourth year as the Pittsburgh State head men's basketball coach. And again, we asked the coaches to just make an opening comment here. Those of you watching on the MIAA network, use the hashtag #AskMIAA on Twitter. You'll get a chance to have your questions read to the coaches here. And we will start with Coach David.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank the MIAA for having us. We appreciate you guys putting this event on. I know our kids are excited about it. For us, this is a year of, we have quite a few new faces. We even have new faces on our staff. We have Patrick Schrader, who's coming from us from Emporia State, KU, and so we're excited to have him on board. Another assistant, Caleb Poston, and then, of course, having Michaela Burgess back as a graduate assistant has been helpful. And so we're really excited about our staff. And then, of course, we've been doing a lot of teaching, and we have, 14 players, and 8 of them are returners, 6 new, and so 5 freshmen, a transfer. And so it's been a lot of new faces for me, especially, but it's been really exciting, and I think our chemistry is really, really good this year. And we've just been trying to, get the most out of our days that we can, most out of our hours, and just get to work every day. And I think that's been the the best part about our team is just we've been super competitive in practice. We've got a lot to prove this year, and I think that, they haven't backed down to that. I think that the girls are really excited about the new season, and it's going to be one that we've really, it's going to be tough with so many returners in the league, and especially with the COVID factor. I think that it's just going to be a great challenge for us.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the MIAA for putting on such a great event. I think it's a neat experience for our student athletes, and give them an opportunity to not only see something like this, but also to kind of be around some of the other student athletes in our league, and they get a free t-shirt. So I think they're pretty fired up about that. I'm going to use the same word that 27 other coaches are going to use today, and that is, we're excited about the season. We were, we were disappointed in the way it ended last year, simply because we had some COVID issues and some injuries at the end. But we have 12 guys back, so I don't know. I think that probably means that as I get older, I'm probably a little bit too nice, but we're excited to have those 12 guys back. We added 5 new guys. 2 of them are high school players, 3 of them are junior college players and transfers. So we're looking forward to getting the season started. We've got some injuries early on that we'll have to deal with, but I think the big key to our team is having so many guys. Having 17 guys is just, how will that depth play out? We need some depth, and hopefully some of the new guys that come in will be able to pick up the slack while we have some injuries.
All right, so we'll open it up to questions. Yeah, in front. David?
Hello, David Boyce with the MIAA and Pitt State. This is for Amanda. You've been part of some very successful Pitt State basketball team, both as a player and coach. What does it take to be successful in the MIAA women's basketball?
Well, I believe it takes a lot of moving pieces, but I think obviously you have to have great players. I think that's a big piece. Great leadership, and experience really comes into play because this league is just so tough. It's filled with a lot of 4-year players, transfers that make big impacts, and so there's not a lot of room for error to be successful. You have to come in, night out, really day in, day out. We just kind of talked about that yesterday. We have to compete every day at a high level, because if you don't, you're going to catch yourself slipping in any game. If you try to take anybody for granted, they're going to make you pay. And so I think that that's the biggest piece, is being ready for that competitive nature of our league. It never falters. It's just from top to bottom, it is extremely tough. And so I would say just the competitive nature, the leadership, and the consistency.
Hi, Shay Schrader, KODE, nice to meet you. My question is, what is Michaela Burgess adding to your staff, and how has she enriched your program so far?
Well, that's just perfect timing on that question, because she brings the things that I just mentioned, and it was part of the success that she had and the impact that she had on our teams. And so the competitive nature is the first one. She actually kind of laced them up yesterday, and that was fun, I think, for our players to get to lace up against her. And then, of course, it's always fun for Michaela. She's just, loves basketball and really brings that passion of the game that she has, and from a younger mindset. And so I think that her impact in that way, being there firsthand as a former player and someone that has been there and done it, is something that our players can really lean on. And then, of course, her leadership. She's been, she has been them in some instances. We talked about that a little bit on the way up with some questions our girls had, is, sometimes you forget those things. Now she's seeing it from a different perspective, so she can really remember quickly what it was like to be a player and then give them some advice. And so I think that's important. And, I'd say just the competitiveness that she can bring and share her passion with them.
Coach Anderson, who would you say some of the big leaders on your team are? And also, could you discuss those injuries that you had mentioned?
I think obviously Bobby Arthur Williams was our leading scorer a year ago, and he has a stress fracture in his foot and his toe, so he's going to be out for a while. Many of you will remember Dijon Waters played 2 years ago, and he had hip surgery after the season 2 years ago. Couldn't play at all last year. Candidly, I wasn't sure he'd ever be able to play again, and he's really done a great job. We kind of have to limit how much he does, but he's back full speed. And Ryan Pippins has a hip injury, but he's playing through that right now. And Antonio Givens has had a family situation that's kept him away now for about 3 weeks. So that's why I talk about how important the depth is for our team, but we do have a lot of guys back, and so I think our chemistry's good. Being last year was hard because you really couldn't do much together as a team. You had to kind of stay away from each other. And this year, this fall, we've been able to do a lot of neat things. We're really good at bowling, if anybody wants to bowl. We took the guys to Lake of the Ozarks and watched them fish. That was good. And but really, we've done some more things together, some community service stuff, and so that, I know it's not normal, but it's almost like normal, and I think that's been invigorating for our guys.
Amanda, you want to add what you've done also this year, different than last year?
Yes, because last year we were in quarantine the whole entire preseason. The majority of us, time in, time out, just different people all the time. And so we literally had 2 weeks of practice before our first game. And so I think that this year has just been drastically different for us as well. It's really our team chemistry. It just makes a difference. I mean, it's what we talk about all the time, is being on the same page and being together and sharing those moments. And we finally get to do some of those things. And so I think that, we've had moments where we've gotten together just to eat, share a meal. It's amazing just the stories and the fun that happens during those times. And, we've done some community engagements, just having recruits on campus, all those things that were normal and that we just really, we took for granted, I guess. You wouldn't think that you would, just normal everyday things, but definitely has, it's been helpful for our team chemistry and just having fun together, and all those moments that really, stick out. It's really what we say is college athletics, is being together and having these unique bonds and all of that. And so we got robbed of it a little bit this year, and so I think that that's been a big piece of our team chemistry right now.
I have one last question. That's for you, Coach David. I know that you guys have lost a huge piece to your squad in Kaylee DeMitz. Who have you seen really stepping up to fill that major leadership role on your team?
I think we're leading by committee. We have 4 seniors right now that I feel like have done a great job of, bringing it every day and sharing themselves with our younger kids. Like I said, we've spent a lot of time together, and so that's an important piece. And then, I think we have we always talk about leadership in every locker. A lot of these kids have come from, a high school program where they were the captain or the leader, obviously being the best player. And so I feel like we've added some pieces from freshmen to juniors that we've brought in. One of those, Elia Myers, obviously plays that position, and so she's coming in from KCK. She'd been at Derby High School before that. She's a winner. I mean, she's really made an impact immediately in that position. She was Defensive Player of the Year in their league. She was second in the nation in assists, second in the nation in steals. So I don't think we could have found a better option, a Kansas kid that really knows about our program. And, I hope she's just excited to be where she's at as we are to have her. So her impact has been immediate. And her experience, she has a couple years of experience in college, which I do think makes a difference in our league, because, that point guard spot in our league is extremely tough. It's very competitive. And you got to know, you can't, like I talked about, you can't come in and be on your heels. You got to get after it. And I think Elia does bring that competitive nature So she's been a huge part of that. And then, like I said, we have 5 freshmen that have come in, and they've made their presence known as well. And so I think that that's been great for our upperclassmen to be challenged every day. And so, I think it's been highly competitive and really exciting to see all the new faces and what they've brought.
Coach Anderson, you and I talked in the offseason or during last season. Most people talked about COVID when people miss games or there are quarantines and so on. But one of the things I think would be neat for you to talk about is the impact on recruiting. I remember you and I were talking at one point saying, this is crazy. We're doing this by Zoom, or I'm walking the campus with my phone when I'm even allowed to get on campus. And I think it might be some neat insight for people to hear from you about the recruiting process during COVID and how you handled that.
Well, I think, it probably breaks down to each individual school or each individual county or state or whatever. But, in our situation, I feel like a lot of kids didn't get recruited just because of the COVID situation. But we found ourselves setting up Zoom calls and, like you said, walking around campus with our phone, showing them campus, and it really, we were lucky. I'll be honest, we were lucky because of the 5 kids we signed. All 5 of them are good kids. You don't get to know them as well by Zoom, or whatever. So it has changed. I think it's kind of reverting back. We could talk for hours about recruiting, about the portal, and about NIL and all that stuff, how much that's changed recruiting in college athletics. But for the most part, things are pretty much back to normal.
Amanda, you have a special group of seniors. You talked about some of your newcomers, but what has this group of seniors meant to the program?
Oh, it's vital to have the experience piece in your program, and that's where Tristan Geggs returning as an all-conference player, and she brings an immediate scoring ability. But what I've really been proud of her this preseason is her defensive presence. It's really important every day for your upperclassmen to show your freshmen the way, but also to kind of, baptize them by fire and make them see their mistakes in practice. And so I feel like that's been a huge role of our upperclassmen so far. So Tristan, she brings that on the offensive side and really teaches them the way, cuts when they turn their head and all those things that we know as basketball coaches. And so that's their experience piece. And then, like I said, her defense has been really strong lately. She's really always been a lot of attention to that area. And then, of course, Julia Johnson has really brought on a new, dimension to her game. She's playing with a lot of confidence right now in practice, and just really, increased her leadership role. I think that, this group's pretty tight, and so I think she feels comfortable. I think they all feel comfortable communicating with each other and just trying to continue to be better every day in something. And so that's for Julia. And then, Sydney Crane has been a little bit of a utility player, and I should mention her as well in the point guard spot. I thought about who we brought in, but Sydney has just been a consistent piece for us where she's been, she can play the 2, she can play the point. She's a defensive stopper for us, and so I feel like, her presence has been huge on the defensive side of the ball, but she does a lot of, she's a very smart player and running our offense and really distributes the basketball well. And so I think that, we just talked, she's going to continue to be a scoring threat for us and continue to, take on that role. That's going to be, the points that we've lost, I think it's going to have to be distributed, amongst many players to try to fill that void. But that's okay because we want balance. If we can really spread it out and balance it between people, that sometimes it's harder to stop than to know exactly where it comes from every game. So, and then Aaron Davis has been a starter for 4 or 5 games. So every one of our returners has been in a starting role, and that's where, to make that next jump up, I think that Aaron is ready for that. Some of that is expected when you get to be a senior. You've really got to, carry the load and like I said, kind of teach the freshmen the way in practice so that they're not, surprised by it that first game. And so that's really what we've been striving to do, and I think that the seniors understand that role. And it doesn't have to just be one of them. They can distribute it between the 4 of them daily, and but they have to bring it. And I think that so far they've done a great job of that.
Wrapping up, any other questions? All right, thank you very much, Pittsburgh State, Kim Anderson, and Amanda David. John will come back to the stage to introduce our next team, Missouri Western.
All righty, we'd like to welcome to the stage Missouri Western, head coach Candy Whitaker and the head men's coach Will Martin. The Griffin women finished the 2021 season with a record of 6-16. Candy Whitaker is in her 3rd season leading the Griffins, and the Griffin men went 14-11 during the 2021 season. They tied for 3rd in the MIAA and qualified for the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2010. Will Martin begins his 2nd season as the Griffins head coach and his 4th season overall with the programs. Candy, if you want to open it up for opening comments.
Sure, thank you. Thanks for having us, MIAA. Thanks for putting this on for all of our programs and our athletes. I think any opportunity to make your athletes feel like they're big time, because they are, is always really important. We're excited, like everyone's mentioned, right? Some normalcy, people at practice, people not in quarantine are all fantastic things to have. We are still really a young team, but it's been fun to watch progress for our, I don't know what we call them, experienced freshmen. We have 16 players, 7 of them are new, and 2 new staff members. So a lot of new faces in our program as well. Really excited about the pieces we added, and excited about the progress that our young players made throughout last year and this off season. So looking forward to continuing to evolve as a unit and a team, and see how good we can get.
I'll second what every coach has talked about. Mike Racy, MIAA, it's unbelievable, this event. I think that it's amazing not only for our student athletes to be able to see each other and hang out, but I told our guys this is like professional development as well. And so I think that it's amazing that we highlight those things and we give our guys these opportunities, and our young women as well. For me in this year, it starts with my staff. I want to highlight those guys, John Hood and Perry Stevenson, 2 guys that played at Kentucky when I was doing laundry and wiping up sweat and folding towels. Those guys were 2 really good players at Kentucky, and they've been great coaches as well. So they've been phenomenal. It's been great to bring in their experience, not just from a playing standpoint, but just an experience standpoint of what they went through at Kentucky, and I think they've been great for our guys. Damon Jones is new to our staff as well. He's been working with our guards. He's done an unbelievable job. And then you got Weston Smith, who's in his 6th year at Missouri Western. He was a 4-year student assistant for us, and he's in his 2nd year as a graduate assistant, and kind of runs the whole program, not just for men's basketball. So he's done a phenomenal job, and I wouldn't be able to function without Weston Smith. So kudos to my staff. All those guys are going to be tremendous head coaches one day, administrators one day. Whatever they decide to do in life, they're going to be great, and they make my job a lot easier. In terms of our team, it starts and ends with our seniors, and they're here today. Caleb Bennett, Tony Chukwumike, and Q Mays. Those guys have done a tremendous job of establishing a new standard this year and making sure that everyone else falls in line. So where we go is going to depend on them. I gave them the keys, and so I have a lot of confidence in those 3 guys right there.
Any questions from the media members? Go ahead, David.
Will, your team made some nice strides forward last year from several years back. What will it take for your team to take the next step up?
You know, we talk about process a lot. We try not to get too caught up in the future. We talk a lot about self-awareness and being present. Right now we're trying to get better today than we were yesterday, and so we have practice later tonight since we've been going at 6 a.m., which the guys love, but since we have media day today, we're going at night. So our only focus is to get better than what we were yesterday, and again, these seniors have established a standard, and we try to push that standard every single day.
Go ahead.
Well, I think all of them, you know, received a ton of experience last year. We relied on them so heavily. At times I looked up and we had 4 or 5 of them on the floor, which was a struggle at times, but you saw their evolution throughout the year, and by January and February, right, they're playing a much higher level. And gave me an opportunity to have a much better vision for them and where we could take their games. Mary Foltz, I think, has made huge strides in the off-season. I mean, just a worker, unbelievable motor, and someone who just really seeks out coaching. Jordan Cunningham has really continued to come along as well and wants to take on that leadership role. And I think Camille, I mean, she didn't come off the floor last year for us, so she's learned a lot about what it takes and, you know, what our weaknesses are, how to improve on those, and has really committed to that. So we have 5 of them that played last year that will be huge for our program moving forward, and really in a lot of ways was a huge foundation for us. We walked into a roster with no underclassmen, so we had to start somewhere, and they really were our first freshman class that we could kind of lay down and continue to grow them. So excited for them and their opportunity to build upon where they finished.
Hi guys, Tommy with KFEQ, also the new radio voice of the Griffins. Look forward to covering both of your teams this year. Will, I guess I'll start with you. You talked about some of the guys who are returning. You also added a couple of transfers in the offseason with Luke and Anthony, a couple of guys who've had some playing experience there at the D1 level, just to get those guys in the fold this past year and kind of get them acquainted with what you're doing. How excited are you to see those guys kind of mold into your program?
Yeah, I mean, we're excited about all of our guys, but like I said, it starts and ends with our seniors, and I'm going to continue to highlight those 3 over there. We have a lot of young talent. We've signed 5 freshmen, and then like you said, we have 2 transfers, but everyone's really fallen in line behind our seniors, and like I said, they set the pace every single day. They set the tone every single day, and those are the 3 guys that we're going to focus on all year.
And then if I may, Candy, you added 3 transfers yourself, including a St. Joseph native in Jalen, who's had a really storied career with Northwest, Trinity, and then 1 other transfer as well. Just to have those 3 girls combined with what you got coming back, how excited are you to see them play?
Yeah, all of them really fit a need. I believe when you recruit and sign a transfer, there needs to be a fit and a need, and all 3 of them were that. Jalen Haggard, obviously very familiar with this league, you know, tremendous motor, shooter, she's quick. I think she has a lot of basketball left in her. Excited to have her. Trinity Knapp, transfer from Missouri State, didn't play last year, so she has not played basketball in a while, but really versatile post player, great size and length, again, great worker. And then Connie Clark is the other transfer you mentioned from Alabama. And, you know, I felt like with the new rule, with everyone getting an extra year and the transfer portal so hot, that junior college was a route we could take, that we could go land someone that maybe otherwise we would not have landed, and that is Connie Clark. She is an unbelievable athlete, motor, versatile, and an awesome kid. So we definitely hit a home run with Connie.
Well, Coach, Will, you said you wanted to talk about your seniors, so Q's going to have to fill in a little bit of a different role this year after losing Tyrell Carroll. filling more as a starting point guard and facilitating even more minutes. How did last year prepare him for this opportunity, and how confident are you in him leading this group and leading this offense?
Yeah, TC was a great player. He went down with an ankle in our quarterfinal game early. I think a lot of people forget that QMA stepped in and scored 32 points that game and really solidified our bid to the NCAA tournament. So I have a tremendous amount of faith in QMA's, and he has embraced the new role as not just our starting point guard, but a leader on this team. And, I'm not going to highlight any of our leaders or captains more so than any other, but what I tell those guys and what we highlight with the team all the time is that those three over there, those three seniors, they all have different voices and they all have different leadership styles, but it's all the same message. It's all the standard. It's all flow. We've only given 2 goals for the whole year. We want to be the most connected team in the country, and we want to be playing our best basketball in March. And all three of those guys have different leadership styles. If you show up any less than 10 minutes early to practice, Tony Chukwumike is going to meet you outside with clenched fist, and that's very, very, very scary. Tony grabbed one of our freshmen one day and took him to my office and slammed the door, and I thought for liability issues, I should probably walk in and make sure that I was present in that meeting. But he's been like a head coach. I mean, all three of those guys are like assistant coaches, but they each have different leadership styles. I think that Q kind of leads by his example in terms of the pace that he brings to practice every single day, whether it's a 5-man drill, 2-man drill, or just getting shots up. And then Caleb Bennett, he's a St. Joe guy. He's a St. Joe legend, so he kind of wears that. And people respect him because of his game and what he's done, not just here at Missouri Western, but at Lafayette High School. He's a kid that played Division I basketball, so his leadership is different too, just because of the aura that he brings. So what's amazing is that they have different leadership styles, but it's all the same message, and it's a blessing for me as a coach to be able to lean on that.
Brenda?
Candy, I wanted to ask you, this is your 3rd season, but your 2nd season was the COVID season. So you had just recruited a class. You talked about all those freshmen that played last year, but you didn't get development with them in the off season, really. So how much of a challenge was that last year, and how much of an acceleration are you expecting this year?
Everyone talks about the challenges, and it really was. I think since things have improved, everyone's, I'm sure, reflected back on really how crazy and difficult it was, and how much you had to adjust. And we talk about that with our players, right? You have to adjust. You have to adjust in life. You have to adjust in game. And it was just constant adjusting. When we look back, we had 0 preseason. There was no pickup. We actually played pickup, and then everyone went home for 2 weeks. So we learned our lesson: no pickup. So there was no basketball. We were playing 0 contact until practice started. And then once practice started, we only had 7 practices where we had everyone there. And we had 10 new players, and most of them were very young. And so they would come to practice, and when they would get out of quarantine, and I would be like, now, what have you learned? And what have you learned? And so from a teaching perspective, it was the most challenging thing I've experienced in my career as far as teaching and trying to teach very quickly. And we were not very good early. Just simple basketball plays weren't being made for a really long time. But then, because they were such good humans and such great teammates, and I'd never been a part of a group that was struggling so much in the win-loss column and on the basketball court, that just continued to come to work with fantastic attitudes. And because of that, you saw a much different team mid-January through February. And then we were competing with really great teams in this league, to 1-2 possessions. Not having Corbin Cunningham was also very hard for us because she had been so fantastic the year before, all MIAA player. And so, not having Corbin, who had kind of been there and done that and experienced it, there was really no one for our young kids to really look to and lean on. Thank God Corbin is back and healthy, and we're so excited to have her back and watch her do things. And those young players that knew about Corbin but hadn't watched her play now know why we were missing her so badly. So it's been fun to watch the evolution, and these kids have only gotten tougher and stronger, as we all have. from dealing with some adversity.
Well, thank you to Coach Whitaker, Coach Martin for being here today. Best wishes with the season this year. We're going to go ahead and take a 15-minute break. And as we head into break, I wanted to just thank Seigfreid Bingham once again for serving as presenting sponsor, and thank the Collegiate Basketball Experience, the spectacular facility to host today's Media Day. But as we head into break, I want to leave you with two MIAA basketball facts. And Commissioner Racy mentioned one of these, but this is just incredible when you think about it. It has been 12 consecutive seasons that the MIAA has led NCAA Division II in attendance, both men's and women's, for 12 consecutive years. And also, for the last 4 consecutive years, the MIAA has produced the NCAA Division II basketball national champion. It was the Northwest Missouri State men in 2017, 2019, and 2021, while the Central Missouri women won the national title in 2018. So we're going to take a 15-minute break and be right back. Thank you.
Well, the secret is using just the right amount of creamer. Let me show you how I make coffee. I think I'm going to stick to being your lawyer.
What are you doing?
I don't even know. I'm going to stick to being your lawyer.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Well, the secret is using just the right amount of creamer. Let me show you how I make coffee. I think I'm going to stick to being your lawyer.
What are you doing?
I don't even know. I'm going to stick to being your lawyer.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Time to get started again. Just as a reminder, we have a lot of new people that have showed up. If you need to use the facilities, the restrooms are over here to my right. Also, back in the corner, make sure coaches and student athletes, you pick up your t-shirts. And there are refreshments over here to my right, your left. And we just want to thank the CBE for a terrific job of hosting this event. What a great day for the MIAA. And we are being broadcast live on the MIAA network. So we appreciate all of you that are watching us and remind you that if you have questions for the coaches, to hashtag AskMIAA, and there will be prizes given if your question is used. We want to announce that in about 15 minutes, lunch will be beginning to be served. If you can work that around all of your other activities, lunch will begin and be available starting at 11. All the teams in the first session are available for media interviews individually until 11:45. And then just a reminder, the coaches in attendance, we will be taking a group picture of all the MIAA head coaches, all of you, at 11:30. So that's coming up in, just 45 minutes. So make sure if you're near a coach or you know a coach, remind them that we're going to take a picture of all the coaches at 11:30. All right, so welcome back. Welcome to all the MIAA schools, media, and guests to the college basketball experience. We're in downtown Kansas City for the 2021 MIAA Basketball Media Day. We want to thank our presenting sponsor, Seigfreid Bingham, for their support, so important. And of course, welcome all of you MIAA fans watching on the MIAA network. If you have any questions, hashtag AskMIAA. And if your question is used today, you will receive a prize from the MIAA office. I'm Brenda Van Langen, glad to be joining you. And now John McCarthy is going to come up and welcome our next team to the stage, Northwest Missouri.
All righty, let's welcome Coach Austin Meyer, Coach Ben McCullum from Northwest Missouri State. As they're entering the stage, I'd like to let you know that this is Coach Meyer's third season leading the women's program. And the women finished the 2021 season with a record of 7 wins and 15 losses. On the men's side, the 2021 regular season champion Bearcats went 28-2 overall and won the national championship for the third year in the last 4 tournaments. This is head coach Ben McCullum's 12th year leading the Bearcats. Let's turn it over to Coach Meyer to begin with for opening comments, followed by Coach McCullum.
All right, I'll keep it short so you guys can ask him all the questions. Really excited about our program. This is our 4th year. Probably the most talented group we've had, probably the hardest working, most together group we've had. I've had as much fun in a preseason this year than I ever have. It's because of the kids we have. Challenge for us, the league's really good. You know, obviously everybody's got everybody coming back with the COVID rule. We have a big roster, which is always a challenge, 13 freshmen. But we had 3 ACL tears to starters within our first 6 games last year, so we felt depth was really important. But just really excited about the season. Thank the MIAA, Brenda, John. This is a big time feel. I know the kids enjoy it, so thank you.
Yeah, want to make sure to reiterate that and thank the MIAA for putting this on. Also, very thankful to all the administrators and even the MIAA and coaches for that matter for last season. You know, I know he touched on it early that we were able to get in, I believe, all of our games, and I'm not sure that there's a lot of leagues that were able to do that. And I think our kids really appreciate the fact that they were able to play basketball. I think our fans appreciate the fact that they were able to watch basketball through the winter, through COVID, and obviously it continues on. So we appreciate that as well. Our team this year, we do have a lot returning, and then we recruited two freshmen that are having good preseasons at this point. So we'll see how it all shakes out. I like our team. We've got great kids, and again, have had a good preseason at this point.
Questions from the media? All right, Ben, I'll throw one out to you to begin with. You've got to be the most interviewed coach in Division II. You've been asked about everything under the sun. What hasn't been asked? What do you want people to know about your team and your program that hasn't been asked? Because just about everything else has been asked.
You know, I think I guess the simple cliche answer is the kind of kids that we have. I think in today's world, to maintain the level of humility that they've maintained says a lot about how they were raised by the parents we have in our program and the kind of kids that they are. And unfortunately, sometimes when you work with a great deal of humility, you probably don't see it from an external standpoint how great of kids they actually are. And I'm blessed to be able to walk into the gym and enjoy my job and enjoy the kids that I work with. I wish that everybody could walk into our gym and see the kind of kids that I'm able to work with every day, because you'd see I've got a pretty special job, and very, very thankful for that.
And one other, I know we'll have plenty of others, but maybe this one's a little bit self-serving, but how about that opening event you're playing in this year? A heck of an event that you'll open up with, I must say. But really what's kind of neat, in addition to that, is as most people watched the tournament last year, if you're into Division II basketball, and saw an unbelievable game between Northwest Missouri State and Northern State up in Aberdeen, South Dakota. And this season will open up with Northwest Missouri State and Northern State. And so anyway, take it away.
Yeah, I'm an absolutely atrocious promoter, though. But yeah, the small college basketball, it features us versus Northern State, and then us versus Seattle Pacific, and a lot of other teams as well, some of the best in Division II. So no, we're, small college basketball for us, and this is, making sure that we continue small college basketball and continue to highlight some of the things that go on. That event is awesome. If anybody saw the Northern State game last season when I think we were down 11 or 12, it'll be a rematch of that, and we're excited to be able to play in that, and have been for the last few seasons.
Brenda?
Coach Meyer, you're returning 4 of your starters from last season, including the conference freshman of the year, Molly Hartnett. What are your expectations for those key returners, and then those returning from injury too?
Yeah, we're excited about getting those kids back. Mallory McConkey's a senior for us that was here before we got the job. One of the 3 kids we have left that's just an extremely hard worker. She's one of our leaders. Emma Atwood, who's here today with us, along with Jana Green, just 2 kids that are experienced. One of Emma's a third-year freshman, and Jana's a third-year sophomore. So they're really experienced, great kids. So we're just excited. Emma, unfortunately, she tore her ACL 4 games into the season, and she was arguably our best player. She was our best defender, second leading scorer at the time, one of our better rebounders. So it's going to be exciting to have everybody out there. Practice has been fun. We got 18 kids, so we got 3 teams of 5, and we just go out and play. And last year we were having to have assistants suit up and play 3-on-3, and so it's just been nice to be more normal and be able to compete every day in practice.
Ben, obviously you have DB and Trev back in the backcourt, but what does having Zay and Byron after their breakouts last year, how does that help having that depth in the backcourt that maybe you haven't had in previous years?
Yeah, no, obviously depth is an interesting topic. It's important as long as the depth is good, as long as they can play. And so a lot of times separation is a little bit better. You know, the hopes are that Isaiah and Byron can beat out Diego and Trevor. That's the hopes. I'm just making sure they're paying attention. No, they were great. They were great late in the season, both of them. Defensively, they're fantastic. They're athletic. I think Isaiah has really gotten better offensively to where he can break people down, and he gives us fits every day when we go against him. And then obviously Byron, you saw what he can do offensively late in the season. So having that, more importantly, like from a defensive standpoint, those athletic guards that can guard multiple positions, those two bring that dynamic that we definitely need. And late in the season when we started playing them even more and more, that helped us a lot.
Austin, your girls were really battle tested last year, going through all the adversity that they did. How can that prepare and motivate a group going into this season?
Yeah, you know, he talked about depth. You know, we had some kids, and we're very upfront with our kids. That, you know, we tell them, you know, we have 18 on our roster. We're not going to play all 18. You know, we're probably going to play 8, 9. He plays usually 6 or 7, but everybody has value. Everybody's important to the team. Everybody's a part of it. So us, you know, we had experience from kids that maybe weren't in our top 7, 8 last year. That is only going to help our depth moving forward. That, you know, we had a lot of kids that played a lot of minutes last year that probably won't play this year just because our talent level is better. We got kids returning from injury, but everybody's got to be ready. That's the thing. You know, I look at, you know, his teams too. He had guys, really good players that didn't play much that were ready to go in Final Four and national championships. So it's all about the team. 1 through, for him, 12. For us, it's 18. And everybody's got to be ready, and your time may come, it may not, but you got to be ready.
Mac, Diego, and Trev have had their fair share of success. I guess what is the expectation for that duo in their 4th year together?
To get better every day, right? You were waiting for me. You were trying to bait me, weren't you, John? Yeah. No, it's to get better every day. I mean, and they've become even better and better leaders, even more and more consistent, to where they don't have many bad days. And as they get older, it's amazing where kids will be, you know, they'll be ready 2 out of 4 days, and then the next year maybe 3 out of 5 they'll be ready, and on through. And once they get to be older and more mature, they understand the importance of every day. And they've shown that with this preseason. They've been fantastic, been ready to go for the most part every single day, and we need that to continue to grow.
Austin, at points last year, it seemed like Jana Green was about your only post player on the team. So just how much does it help having some of that size back? And I know that's where you got hit pretty good by the injuries last year. So how much does having that size back kind of help you going into this year?
Yeah, it makes a difference. You know, our first year, I think we were dead last, close to dead last in the country in rebounding, almost to the point where I hoped the other team made free throws, you know, so we didn't have to rebound it. But you know, we were, I think our average height was 5'8", and now we picked up, you know, 2 6'2" kids. You know, we have 5 or 6 kids over 6 foot on our roster now. Kelsey Fields is a freshman for us. That's, I think, top 25 in the history of Iowa 5-on-5 basketball and rebounding. So rebounding obviously is a very important part of it. There's a lot of technique stuff that goes into rebounding, but there's also the size factor. So we feel like we're going to be much improved. We're a lot bigger from the guard position too. You know, Molly Hartnett, who was freshman of the year, is a 5'9" point guard. Emma, 5'10", that rebounds it well. And then you had Kelsey in there along with Jana. You know, Jana's a great defender for us. She can guard 1 through 5, switch ball screens. She post defended for us all last year against taller players and did a great job. So yeah, it's quality size, and that's the biggest part of it. Can't just get a bunch of tall kids; they got to be good too. And so we're excited about who we got in.
Well, Coach Meyer, Coach McCollum, thanks so much for being here, and best wishes this season. Brenda, we're going to come on up, and we'll keep on moving along, but thank you so much. Best wishes to the Bearcats.
Thank you.
All right. Did the announcers get prizes for keeping everything on time? We're doing all right, right? All right. All right, let's make sure we got the right group here. Okay, so next up will be Central Missouri. Am I right? All right, here they are. Head women's coach Dave Seigfreid and head men's coach Doug Carlskin. Thank you. Gotta get that right. I said it as fast as I could. The Jennies compiled a 23-5 record during the 2021 season. They won their 8th NCAA regional championship and made the program's 6th trip to the NCAA Final Four. Dave Seigfreid is in his 18th season as the Jennies head coach. The Mules finished the 2021 season 7-15. Head coach Doug Carlskin, I'm so sorry, Carl Skint, there you go. I just needed to slow it down a little bit, is entering his 8th season leading the Mules. Glad that you are both here, and Coach Seigfreid, would you please start us off with some opening comments?
Well, it is great to be here, and it is such a small world out here because 27, I got to thank somebody here, that's Brenda. 27 years ago, I was up for the Missouri Western job, and she pulled her name, so she may not have had an Emmy if she'd have gone ahead and taken that job 27 years ago. Is that about right? Is that?
I think you beat me for the job.
No, not even close. And it's been a great experience. And one quick story from, I got a call last fall from a coach in the Sunshine Conference down in Florida, and they were very upset because they didn't get to play last year. And they said junior highs are playing, high schools, JUCOs, Division IIIs, NAIs, Division I's, but we don't get to play. And so we've got to thank our administrators and the MIAA and Mike for putting together a tremendous season last year, and one that we really had a great experience in, and it was strange, but this year things are getting a little bit more back to normal. I think the crowds will be better. I think it's going to be fantastic. We're looking for that 13th straight year that the MIAA leads in basketball attendance, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, I'd like to echo just what Slice said, and just really excited about getting going. It was just so unusual last year, and just not being able to be here. This kind of tip-offs the basketball season, and this is such a special event, just being in this venue. This is where every one of our teams in this conference want to be at the end of the year. One of the goals is to be in Kansas City, cutting down nets in March, and it's great that we get to be here. Thank you, Commissioner Racy, the administrators, and everybody that puts this event on, that are some of our kids get to come to. We brought Gavin Pinkley, Jacor Nelson here today to let them see what it's all about, and just how well the MIAA is ran just each and every year.
All right, we'll open it up to questions. Over here.
Hey, I'll go ahead and go with you first, Dave. Just talk how you guys can continue to grow off the year that you guys had last year.
Well, it was an interesting year because we did have 7 freshmen, and 6 of them played a lot. And we had one of them end up getting Olivia Nelson's here today. She ended up getting second team all conference. Didn't win freshman of the year, but that's a different story. But Nyjah Collier's also here with us today, and Nyjah's back for her 5th year, which we're very, very excited about. I think that most of our freshmen have figured out that you got to be in shape to play college basketball, so they came back in so much better shape, and I think that we're going to need that because we start the season October 29th, 30th, and 31st with an early preseason tournament in Texas. We get to play the host school, West Texas. We get to play Southwest Oak, who has beaten us twice in regional play in the last few years. And then Drury, who we've had some really tough contests with. So we need to start off strong, and there's no guarantee because those are 3 pretty tough games.
Doug, just talk about some of the things that you guys have done this offseason to grow this year.
You know, I think it started last spring, coming off a disappointing year like we did. And, you know, as far as a postseason spring workouts, I thought probably just it was the best that we have had as an off-season program. We ended up having basically every single person in our program back in the summer. And, you know, they got to play quite a bit of pickup basketball together and just being together, you know, which is what we missed so much of last year. You know, first semester alone last year, we were quarantined in and out for a total of 46 days. And so just being together more has been very, very beneficial. And, you know, we had 3 guys come back that were seniors last year with Cam Hunter, Ja'Cour Nelson, and Corey Gilbert. You know, some guys that have played a lot of college basketball, a lot of minutes, and so those guys are doing a good job of showing the new guys and the transfers just how we need to be, and just telling them, you know, just how good this conference is, and if you don't show up, you know, with high energy and you know, each and every night you can get beat.
Coach K, my office is right next door to your guys' locker room, and I hear you guys all the time, and it's kind of different than last year. You know, I feel that there's more togetherness. Can you talk about that kind of growth that you guys have right now?
Yeah, you know, I think it was a focal point in the recruiting, just guys that had the same belief, the same goals that we do as a staff, bringing them in. You know, and I think everybody right now is fitting in well, and like I said, that there's a hunger factor into getting the program back where it needs to be after the last couple of years where we have some downfalls, and you know, just we never did get to eat a team meal in a restaurant last year, you know, and those things make a huge difference. Just the togetherness, the getting to know your teammate, those things make such a big difference, not only just off the floor, but especially on, and just that, just being connected. And, you know, we feel it, but long ways to go. And, but we do like the group that we have. I'm glad that you said that, though.
And Coach Seigfreid, you know, you had a young team last year, and then you only graduated 2 seniors. Do you think that experience is going to take you far this season?
Well, we sure hope so. The 2 seniors that graduated, Morgan Van Hefty and Gigi McAtee, didn't get a lot of numbers, but they were tremendous defenders. And some of those young kids are going to have to grow up and start guarding somebody sometime, somewhere, because if not, it's going to be trouble for the Gins. But again, I can't reiterate enough. We didn't really have a preseason last year, and now most of our kids came back in just tremendous shape, and I really didn't expect it, and I'm proud of them because a few of them have really changed their bodies, and they look like college athletes. Now, if they can just guard, I think we've got a chance.
Coach Seigfreid, talk about the MIAA has always been an extremely competitive, very successful conference. But when you look at last year, the regular season conference was won by one team, the tournament was won by another, and then your team won the regional championship. Just talk about the strength of the conference and how competitive it is and how hard it is to win in this conference.
I remember a few years ago that Tom Smith, the coach at Missouri Western on the men's side, I'd always say how great our conference was, and he'd say, well, you don't get to say anything till somebody wins a national title. Well, Washburn wins one in 2005, Emporia 2011, and we won one in 2018. And, you know, there is a lot of different teams in our league that can win a national title, and that's the most impressive part about it, because we're deep and we play at a high level, and there's just a lot of teams that can do it. Last year was a strange year. We were fortunate to be able to host the regional because I think we were a 4 seed, and what happened was the year before We were supposed to host it, and we were going through our pre-regional practice, and right during the middle of it, they made the announcement that the season's canceled. And so we were very fortunate to be able to go ahead and host it because Hayes, Kearney, any one of the three of us could have ended up winning that thing. And it was a great experience out of Columbus, Ohio. It was strange because only 36 fans from each school were able to go to it, but it was still a championship experience, and we were within a three-pointer away from getting to the finals. And I'd have loved to have played Drury in the finals.
Coach Carlskint, first I want to just acknowledge and congratulate you. Your last win last year is your 200th career win as a head coach, so congratulations on that. I want to make sure we bring attention to his 200th career win. This year you bring back 4 starters from last year. Talk about what's next. What's the next step in the evolution of the Central Missouri program?
Well, we got 4 starters back, like you said, and we got some guys that we brought in that are going to challenge for those spots, obviously. But just one thing that we've just been talking about, just staff-wise, whatnot, is just the ability to win those close games. We haven't. We've been in position to win quite a few games there at the stretch in the last couple of years and haven't been able to do that. In this conference, so many games come down to possession games, and it seems like, and I've said it numerous times, we just need to fast forward to the last media timeout and play the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game, because that's what it comes down to. And we got to figure out how to win those games, and with experience, you do that. With guys being in position and having experience winning those games, that's where we need to get to, is being disciplined to doing your job, execution rate in those final minutes of those close games.
And Coach Seigfreid just mentioned about the MIAA on the women's side, of how difficult the league is, and how with 3 different teams winning the national title in the last several years. Maybe you can address that on the men's side about just the MIAA as a whole, how challenging, how good this conference is.
It's unbelievable, really. Just looking at the pamphlet that the league put out this year with all the returners, some guys that you look around just today that are walking around that seem like they've been in the league forever and caused a lot of sleepless nights and some heartaches. But it's a Division I league. I mean, we got Division I players, and not only the players, but the coaches are so good. The coaches, the resources that the communities and the alums put into basketball is unbelievable, and you see it in football and the other sports as well. But like Slice said, just the national championships that basketball has had recently has really amped the game up, and it's a battle every single night. And a lot of conferences can't say that, where it's top heavy or you got 1 or 2 teams that can win the national title. We got numerous teams. We got numerous coaches that have won national titles, whether it be junior college, Division II, NAIA, whatnot. So every night is a grind mentally through scattering report, and you just try and echo that to the players, just how meaningful each and every possession is every night.
Coach, what are your expectations for Collier this year in her leadership role?
Well, we've been working hard on not fouling and not turning it over, because Nija's a double-double pretty much every night, and she makes a lot of things happen. She's going to have to take a bigger role this year defensively for us, and we've got to have her on the floor. But one of the other things that she's been working on is she's always been a very good post-up player, very good three-point shooter, and now we've got to get her on the three-point line driving. And so she has worked hard in the gym all summer trying to figure out how to extend her career and hopefully get to play some overseas ball.
Any final questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dave Seigfreid and Doug Carlskint. And now John will come up to introduce Emporia State.
All righty, we're going to bring up Emporia State and Emporia State's women's coach, Toby Wynn, and head men's coach, Craig Doty. The Emporia State women finished last season with a record of 18 wins and 7 losses and made their 22nd appearance in the NCAA tournament. This is Coach Wynn's 4th year as the Hornets head coach. On the men's side, Emporia State went 11-12 in the 2021 season, making it to the quarterfinals of the MIAA tournament. This is also Coach Craig Doty's 4th season leading the Hornets. With the opening comments, we'll go ahead and start with Coach Wynn, please.
Just echo what everybody else has said so far throughout the course of the morning. It's great to be here. Appreciate Mike and the staff at the MIAA for putting this together and this great venue here. Obviously we're follow Coach Anderson said, we're excited also about the upcoming season and looking forward to this year. And obviously we have a lot of players back, and so that's made our preseason a little bit easier for us with all the returners that we have, and they've done a good job of leading our newcomers.
Can I copy what you just said? It's great to be here. Awesome venue. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everybody that worked so hard to make this happen. And we're happy to start another year of MIAA. Hopefully this year looks more like previous years, 2 years and past in terms of post-pandemic, and packing arenas out and showcasing high-level basketball on both the men's and the women's side.
Questions from the media?
I guess I drew the short straw. I've asked both of these coaches questions already, but let's start with Coach Wynn. 4 starters back from last year. Where have those players shown maybe the most improvement as you've gotten ready for this season?
I think, Greg, just a year of growth and maturity, honestly, of just all the different experiences and games that they went through a year ago. And I think it's given them some good motivation and kind of made them aware of what they want to try to accomplish. And so I think just growth, not so much, so to speak, maybe in technical basketball skill, but in in leadership and improving themselves in the weight room and trying to get quicker and faster and stronger and those kind of things. I think that's where I've probably seen the most improvement out of our returners.
And Coach Doty, overall as a team, where do you feel like your team is the most improved?
Well, it's nice to have returners. This is the first year number 4 for us, but the first year we bring back 8 guys, who have played multiple years leading into this year. It feels like that, when we started working with our guys late in the first week of school, that we hit the ground running right away, that we weren't starting something from scratch, but Jamari Turner had been in the program for 4 years, and Mason Thiessen and MIAA are in their 3rd year. And to have that feeling of continuity, there's great value to that. And we have 8 of those guys, in addition to the newcomers that we brought in. But recycling a roster over every single year is very difficult, and it seems to be commonplace now in the current transfer era. But having the staple group of talent that have been with you since you've arrived or the year after, we feel there's value in that, and it allows for our practices to be that much better.
You have 8 players back with experience. What about the newcomers? What do they bring to the table that could make things a little more interesting for your basketball team?
Yeah, obviously, with Jamari and Mason and MIAA and Gage McGuire, those are key guys that we bring back, all who have scored, 15-plus points per game. Jamari upwards of 30, and a guy who's all league. But some of the key guys that we brought in with them, Caden Evans is very gifted from Kansas City. He already was a double-figure point-per-game average scorer in Division II at Southwest Minnesota State. And Trey Buchanan has really shown up and done an incredible job for us. He's a transfer from South Dakota State University. I'm getting old, I guess. I used to watch Trey back in AAU, back when he was a junior in high school. And now I think he's 23 years old. These years go by. What did I say? The days go by slow. The years go by fast. Now he's on our roster, and we're really happy he's there because he's made an immediate impact in our program.
And Coach Wynn, we know about the players you have coming back with Treasure and Callie Martin coming back. But as far as the newcomers, you have, 4 freshmen and a transfer student? What do they add to the mix?
I think they give us depth. Is probably the first thing that they gave us more than anything else. We were kind of thin roster number-wise, a year ago, and so now we've added some more pieces as far as having a little more depth, which hopefully enables us to not have to play Treasure 40 minutes a game, and some things like that. And I think that's probably the biggest thing we've seen. The transfer we added, Victoria Price. Victoria's a very gifted athlete. I think that she's somebody that can definitely have an impact on our team right away from day one, and been excited watching her practice so far and looking forward to seeing what she can bring to our team. And so I think she's probably the one that, out of the ones we've added, that probably could have the most significant impact early on.
And the ones that were freshmen last year, it's always valuable experience when they get that playing time. Have you seen them maybe take another step going into their sophomore season?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Elena Hartman obviously stepped in when Callie Martin got hurt a year ago and, played very well for us. I think that you see it every day in practice and, with her. I mean, she's just older and more mature even right now, and somebody that's, can really score the basketball in a variety of ways. And, Emily Weathers is somebody that's, has come along nicely too as well, and just is a little bit more of a competitor and doesn't back down as easily and those kind of things. So for sure, I think you see those guys improve, dramatically.
I know the practices officially haven't started yet, Coach Doty, but are you starting to see guys maybe find their order as far as playing time and trying to earn spots, or is that something that begins to happen in earnest tomorrow?
Yeah, so we stat and provide data points on every one of our practices. We have 6 student assistants that are just some of the best people in terms of developing analytics for us. We film all our practices. Guys have started leveraging themselves since we started working with them in late August, and there's not going to be probably a ton of changes at this point. Guys have put themselves into positions where we kind of know who's starting, who's coming off the bench, and if something would change, it would have to be a catastrophic shift on a consistent basis day to day for that to happen. So we feel good about it. We can go big. We can play 2 6-10 guys at the same time. We can go small. We have multiple different looks and lineups, and now it's just going to be, once we start getting into scrimmage and exhibition season, is finding which of those lineups work best, in actual game settings. While practices are very competitive, and we feel we're getting a lot out of them, it's completely different when you put the ball out there, and there's officials and there's fans in the stands. We'll see how they play in front of 16,300 at Allen Fieldhouse. I don't know if that's indicative of an MIAA game or not, but there's still more to be told. The shift that will happen will have to take place so once we start getting into exhibition and scrimmage season, because we just feel our guys have leveraged themselves at a point where we kind of have a good feel for what's going to happen in terms of rotations and role.
Coach, when you led the conference in offense last year and 256 three-pointers, what about your offensive philosophy lends itself to that, and what are your expectations this year?
I think when I was in high school, my high school coach really held me back and didn't let me shoot the 3 as much as I would like to be quite honest. I thought I was a really good shooter, and I didn't get to, so I told myself when I finally got to a place where I could be able to coach, I was going to let my team, if you're open and you're in range and you're on balance, we want you to shoot the basketball. So that's just kind of the approach that we've taken, whether it was in the first 5 or 6 seconds of the shot clock or, at the end of the shot clock. So I think we're just trying to give our players space and freedom to really play that way, honestly. And I don't want them to be intimidated or scared or afraid to shoot the basketball when they're open. And I like playing that way. I like giving our players the freedom to be able to do that. And so that's just kind of the pattern that I've gone with over the years, I think.
I love it. That's awesome. Coach Wynn, obviously Treasure's been in the conference for a long time now, but where have you seen her continue to grow her game, and where do you want to see her continue to grow her game?
I think the first thing Treasure's doing right now is she's working extremely hard in the weight room. I think that's been a big thing for her, and her stamina and her energy and that kind of stuff. And I think just becoming a better athlete and becoming more physically fit and stronger is really improving her game immensely. When I watch her play right now, I think obviously she's had great success in this league already, but we know that she's going to get a good game plan and a good defender about every night, and so she's got to continue to evolve her game. And she's working really hard on her shooting and just different aspects to try to fine tune some things, and then overall just her leadership. I've really enable her and allowing her to, really kind of be the coach on the floor for our basketball team and take over a leadership role to where, our players really, have a feel for listening to her, what she's saying out there on the court, and her and I have a good relationship, as far as being able to be an extension of me and the things that I'd like to see her try to do. And so she's done a good job of really implementing that with our basketball team.
Coach Doty, same thing with Jamari. What's his next step? Obviously, 19 points a game, great year last year. So what's his next step as a player?
Yeah, so I mean, coaching Jamari is such a pleasure. He is as disciplined of a person as I've ever been around. He eats salmon and asparagus every night. He carries around not just a bottle of water, but a jug of water throughout the day. He stays hydrated. He sleeps 8 hours a night. He does everything at a high level. Every day in practice, he shows up and competes. He holds everybody accountable. Coaching him is a pleasure. He made a decision in early August to come back, and it was a tough decision for him, whether he was going to go, try to overseas route or he was going to come back and play. We're happy he's here. As far as with me coaching him, I think the best thing that I could do for him is provide additional support around him offensively. We're up 15 against Washburn at their place in the last game of the regular season, which was at the time we controlled our destiny to make the MIAA tournament. We got beat because they were able to really focus on. I mean, they're a great defensive team, but they shut Jamari down and they shut Austin down. We really had no other options. And to bring in Caden, to bring in Trey Buchanan, to continue to develop guys like Mason, Mayum, and Gage, we feel like we have a better roster around Jamari. In fact, we feel like we have the best roster we've had in our 4 years. We inherited the last place team in the MIAA when we got the job in the spring of 2018. This past season, we were tied for 6th in the league, and there's still more room to grow. And if we have coaches in our league winning national championships. We have 3 coaches in our league who, in my opinion, could easily step into a Division I job and take it over better than half the Division I coaches in the country. But they stay put. This league, if you join it, it's not an overnight type deal. You don't fix it overnight. But to have a guy like Jamari for a 4th year, it certainly puts us in a better position than if we wouldn't have him. So we're excited for it, and we look forward to getting back home and having another good practice today at 2:30, because I know that I'd say young man. He's not really young. Are you 26 now, Jamari? He'll certainly lead our team and help put us in the best position to be successful.
Well, Coach Wynn, Coach Doty, thanks for being here once again today. Best wishes to the Hornets in the 21-22 season. We're going to go ahead and take a 15-minute break, but as we take that break, we're going to ask both the men's and women's coaches to come in front of the stage to get a group photo of the MIAA basketball coaches for 2021-22. Thank you.
What are you doing?
I don't even know. I'm going to stick to being your lawyer.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Well, the secret is using just the right amount of creamer. me show you how I make coffee. I think I'm going to stick to being your lawyer.
We'd like to welcome the MIAA schools, the media, and all the guests here today at the spectacular college basketball experience in downtown Kansas City for the 2021 MIAA Basketball Media Day. Thanks once again to Seigfreid Bingham for serving as the presenting sponsor for today's Media Day. And also like to welcome all those watching today on the MIAA network. I'd like to remind fans, if you have a question, please go to Twitter. On Twitter, please use the hashtag AskMIAA. That's hashtag AskMIAA on Twitter. If the question is used today, you'll receive a special prize from the MIAA office. Now I'd like to bring up Brenda Langen to introduce Rogers State to the stage. Our handoff.
All right, thank you, John. Ready to get started with our next session. Thank you for all of us joining us today. We will now bring to the stage Rogers State, head women's basketball coach Kyle Bent, head men's coach Justin Barkley. The Hillcat women went 6-16 in the 2021 season. Kyle Bent is in his 4th season as the women's head coach. The Hillcat men finished the 2021 season with a record of 11-12 and made an appearance in the opening round of the MIAA tournament. Head coach Justin Barkley is entering his 12th season at Rogers State as the men's basketball coach. We'll start with our coaches making an opening statement and then open it up to questions here at the College Basketball Experience, but also those of you watching on the MIAA network, just use hashtag AskMIAA to ask a question. All right, Coach Kyle, would you start us?
Yeah, I think just kind of going with all the other coaches and the excitement level in the room just to be back in person. I think that's pretty palpable. Just everybody seems excited. You know, we are definitely in that mix. I know Coach Barkley and I have, look forward to getting some fans back in the seats. So from a women's basketball standpoint, we return 9 players. A lot of them were freshmen and sophomores. During my staff and I's first recruiting class. So, the preseason's been a little bit cleaner. Intensity's been good. So, we're hoping the maturity and the years within the program pays off. But we're excited, glad to be here, and we're looking forward to games starting shortly.
Well, kind of to piggyback Coach Bent's remarks, first of all, we're just extremely ecstatic to be here. First class event. I think, as I was telling Commissioner Racy, we're thankful that our league puts on a first class event like this, but we were fortunate enough to bring a couple of student athletes, and for them to experience something like this, we're very thankful. But we're just glad to have some normalcy. I think last year was a roller coaster. I remember talking to my staff. We don't know who's going through what from day to day. Wasn't really sometimes fair to really evaluate what we were trying to accomplish. But I was thankful for that team last year that we got through that. I think we learned a lot. It allowed us to grow. But we're definitely excited about this year. We got 12 newcomers out of our 17 guys, the most we've ever brought in. So we're still trying to figure out each other. and we're thankful that the season's right around the corner.
Great. All right, we'll open it up to questions. John?
Justin, good to see you. Let's talk about that blending. You talked about 12 newcomers this year with 5 returners, most you've ever brought in terms of new players. What's that going to look like in terms of meshing your culture with so many new guys this year?
It's going to take some time. One thing I've enjoyed, this group, anytime you're bringing that many guys in, it's not like I've got a lot of experience with that, but I was a little concerned. We were coming from every different direction, from high school to junior college transfer, maybe grad transfers from other four-year universities. This group has really taken a liking to each other to this point. Now, obviously, we haven't passed out any playing time. Everybody seems to be really coachable, but to this point, I've really enjoyed the process. Now, I think we're ready to transition to the full practice load. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. I think, I've learned over the years talking to mentors, it's going to take us 8 to 10 games to understand who we are, what our strengths, what our weaknesses are. But right now, we're just trying to compete every day, play hard, listen, and if we'll do those things, I think we can just take some slow steps forward.
And just one quick follow-up. So in your experience, you've been at Rogers State for a while now, but as startup program in the NAIA, then eventually moving to Division II, and then moving to a new conference in Division II in the MIAA. Talk about the level of play at the MIAA and the depth and competitiveness of this league.
Well, Rogers State's, this is starting our 15th year from scratch. We still talk to guys today. We're still building our tradition and who we are, what we want to be. But, as we start off in NEI, there's obviously a special place in Kansas City, had some opportunities to play in municipal in the NEI National Tournament. 3 or 4 years of NEI, then we transitioned to NCAA Division II, where we had 3 years of no postseason, trying to recruit student athletes with no postseason. That was difficult. But we won a conference championship in the Heartland Conference, and then we merged with the MIAA with Newman University. And like you said, each year we've seen stepping stones as we continue to build up the ladder. And I think our first year in the MIAA, I think it was just more of a wow factor. Like, this is more like a Division I setup everywhere you go. And I remember talking to a few coaches, what's the biggest thing to expect you? You're going to go to every place on the road, and it's run like a well-oiled machine. You're going to be excited. Your kids are going to get treated with first class. And that's, for us, that's been obviously what we've dealt with.
Kyle, I was going to ask you, you said 9 returning starters, but last year in a COVID year, you really didn't get to have much of an off season, if any, and working with that group and so many challenges. So what have you seen this year as you approach it and you get back to some normalcy, what you're able to do with this group? I just did that
2
too.
for 2, right? I know. Just being able to spend more time with them, and just everybody having more confidence, I think, in their health, has allowed everybody to just kind of drop their guard a little bit. There's less on everybody's plate, with the vaccinations out now. Everybody just seems just more confident in kind of what we are dealing with now. And having 9 new players, 9 returners, they've been able to bring those, 4 newbies along and try to understand or teach them, what we're trying to do with the drills and expectations of the program. But I know for me personally, I've really enjoyed the opportunity to spend more time with my players, just to get to know them, and having fewer restrictions has been good for them, but for my staff and I as well.
And to both of you, because last year was hopefully a once-in-a-lifetime experience and we'll never go through that again, but all the challenges, all of the things that your players and you as coaches had to go through, putting it in perspective now in the rearview mirror, what's something that you learned during that time, and then maybe that you've applied now as you're going forward to each of you?
We talk about how to deal with adversity in our program, and I think last year, more than ever, it was really on the table. I mean, how do you deal with a bad break? How do you deal with maybe going in quarantine for 10 days? I mean, we're going to pick each other up. Next guy got to keep moving along. I mean, nothing ever shut down. And so for us, it's just, I thought it built a lot of character, not only with our players, but our staff as well. I mean, it was a learning environment every single day, and nothing was stable. It allowed us to grow outside of our comfort zone, and I thought it was really good. And we'd like to have won more, but I think in the big picture of things, it allowed us to probably mature in some areas that we could have used.
Yeah, I would just say just the opportunity that we have every day, to take advantage of that. Last year, we'd get some things in, we'd start to get into some rhythm, and then we'd go into quarantine. So now, I think having been through that, just the importance of detail and making the most of our time together on the court or in the weight room or in film or what have you, I think that's been very eye-opening and something that we've tried to carry over to this season.
Amber?
I do have a question from Twitter. This is from James Bent. Perhaps there's some relation there.
My father.
What focus, and this is for both of you, what focus do you put on recruiting the top talent in the state of Oklahoma?
Well, we try. It's hard, but I mean, it's obviously important. We'd like to keep the student athletes in state if we could. Obviously there are other formidable colleges and universities within the state, so it is a bit of a tall task. But we try to start in Claremore and move our way, outwards. So it is important, but we got to go up against a lot of formidable colleges and universities. So we do what we can.
I would just say that our staff, myself, try to identify as much talent in the area that we feel like can help elevate our program, obviously in an extremely tough league. And, if it's somebody we want to continue to recruit, we will. And we just try to cast a really wide net, and hopefully we can land a few, to be honest.
Kyle, I was going to ask, you said the 9 returners helping the 4 newbies. Of those 4 newbies, which one or 2 are standing out that you're really seeing as potentially making an impact this year?
Jordan Lewis, originally from Detroit. She's a transfer from UTRGV. 5'8", can really score off the wing. Kylie Day is about 6'1", 6'2". She's a freshman. She's starting to learn and get used to the physicality. So, those are 2 areas we wanted to add some height, some ability to play inside, outside from those positions, and then we needed to add some ability to score on the wing. So they've come in and done a good job. The other 2, Bree and Talia, making progress. Are just not quite there yet, but overall, it's been truly has been a real joy to coach the group. I do look forward to showing up every day, and body language, attitudes have been good. So hopefully we can keep it rolling.
All right. Any other final questions? All right. Well, thank you very much. Best of luck to Rogers State this next year, Kyle Bent and Justin Barkley.
Thank you.
And John will come to the stage now to introduce Central Oklahoma.
Sorry, I didn't get the ball.
We're just switching back. Mixing it up.
All righty, we're going to welcome the coaches from Central Oklahoma to be on stage with us. We have the women's coach, Coach Guy Hardacre, along with Coach Bob Hoffman with us today. And the Bronco women this past year went 14-9 during the 2021 season, making it to the MIAA tournament quarterfinals. Coach is in his 16th year as the head women's coach with the Broncos. On the men's side, the men finished the season with a record of 13-11 and made it to the MIAA tournament semifinals. This will be Coach Bob Hoffman's third season leading the Broncos. Coach Hardacre, please go ahead and make it opening comments, followed by Coach Hoffman, please. Thank you.
Yeah, grateful to be here today. It feels like a basketball season. You know, a year ago we're doing this on Zoom, and quarantines were tough. I remember our team had 3 different quarantines, and the coaching staff had separate quarantines. There were a couple times where we possibly had 3 to 5 kids in practice, and it was pretty difficult. We didn't lose any kids. They're all back. We graduated 1. All 5 starters are back. Top reserves are back. And it's amazing how much further along we are. You know, we started the season with a couple of freshman point guards, and I guess they're still freshmen, but, you know, hopefully they'll play like sophomores. But we're excited to be here and excited about our team.
Not working. Okay. Well, yeah, there you go. I could talk louder maybe. So I guess Coach Barkley broke the microphone. Tried to sign him many years ago when he was in high school, and then he broke the microphone. Anyway, I'm just really thrilled to be here. I'm excited for the season. Our guys have been working hard. I think we got a chance to be very special this season. We got over 5 guys returning that had starter minutes, and collectively we scored the ball really well. From Christmas on, we averaged about 88 a game. It'd be great if we could play defense a little better. And I have a guy volunteering that is a small college basketball legend that's doing some defense with us, Bob Battisti. I think he's going to really help our program this year, and nobody's ever accused me of playing much defense, but we do play a little bit of offense. We're going to try to score a little.
Terrific. Any questions for the media? Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I feel very blessed. I feel like we had, you know, we were pretty strong on the post last year, and we'll be even better this year on the post. You know, and we had a girl on our team, Kelsey Johnson, who was second leading scorer, second leading rebounder, highest shooting percentage, and we just kept feeding her the ball. And to be honest, we were playing a lot of freshmen, sophomores, and they all got valuable experience, and it's made a world of difference in where we're at right now at this point.
Well, I mean, we rebounded the ball really well. Isaiah Wade is here. He finished second in the league. He was second team all-conference. He's with us today. He can score the ball also. We started throwing it in a little more as the year progressed. And then Callan Hayden, who was third team all-conference, did a really good job getting the ball. Those are 2 of the guys that are back, but we have multiple players that impacted the game for us. Jaden Wells probably finished second in the voting for freshman of the year, and he put pressure on teams on every level, and we're thankful he's back. But Cam Givens has been honorable mention 2 years in a row now, and he can play inside, outside, and I mean, there's just multiple guys that have really impacted our team. But for having starters back, I think that gives you a leg up. Doesn't mean you're going to automatically be good, but you have the opportunity to be special when that last game is tipped off, and we got all the way to Northwest Missouri, and they just smashed us in the semifinals. And it was great to see that happen in the national tournament to some other good teams that didn't make us feel quite as bad. But we're really excited about what this group and these guys, how they play together and how they work together and how they share the ball. They've really improved in that, and we already shot it well. So I think sky's the limit for what we can accomplish this season.
Anybody have anything? Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel very lucky to have Kelsey in the first place, and on top of that, she elected to stay for another year. She just, people have to double her and triple her, and hopefully that makes it a little bit easier for our guards. She's not only, a great basketball player, she's a really good person, and she's a great leader for our program. So with that, we're changing some culture with some kids. We have, I think we have 4 quality, maybe 5 quality post kids to go along with her. And then so the guard play for us, just like last year, depending on our guard play, will determine maybe how far we go. So very lucky to have her, grateful for her, and hopefully she receives everything she deserves this year.
So for both coaches, I want to just read something that I just found fascinating in the MIAA News and Notes and get your comment on this, because this goes to the level of coaching in the MIAA. 7 MIAA head coaches have won either NAI or NCAA national championships as a head coach. Coach Kim Anderson, Craig Doty, Tony Hobson, Coach Bob Hoffman, Ben McCollum, Ron McHenry, and Dave Schleifer. 7 different coaches in this league have won national titles. Can you talk about the level of coaching for each of you? Coach Hardacre and Coach Hoffman, the level of coaching in the MIAA.
I didn't hear my name on that list. We're working to get there. The coaches in our league are they're great, and you're not going to outcoach them. And to be really successful in this league, you've got to have a few transfers. I mean, all the really good teams land a transfer too, and we landed 2 this year with a couple of freshmen coming in to help this squad. Hopefully that'll put us in that, top 4. That's what we're shooting for. We'd love to host something or be in position to host something. And the credit to our basketball, to the league with our coaches, I mean, all these guys, their X's and O's are a little bit different, and you have to make great adjustments. And I think that's where you see how strong they are, is when they're making adjustments to you coming out in the second half.
Yeah, I know for me, I wouldn't speak for those other guys, but I had great players. I mean, unbelievable players to win that championship, and I have great players right now. And there's multiple guys in our program that have worked hard and given up minutes for the betterment of our team. Carson Calavan, Jalen Turner, those kind of guys. That's what helps you win a championship. That's what we're trying to build. We haven't had it happen yet, but I think we're moving in a great direction, and it's because of the players that will get it done.
Guy, you talked about the transfers and it making such a difference, and it's a whole different world related to that now, of having to make sure you're recruiting those transfers. What are the 2 transfers that you have going to contribute? Can you specifically talk about how they enhance your team?
Yeah, we have a transfer from Arkansas Little Rock, and she's a 6'2" post girl. Her name is Alasia Knapp. She's I sometimes have to put her and Kelsey on the same squad in practice because they are going at each other. And I know it's developing Kelsey's game, having a player with her caliber on the floor. And then we have another transfer, a guard, a shooting guard, 5'11" girl. She played at University of Arkansas. Her name is Ginger Reese. So they're both Oklahoma kids, and the way we're structured at UCO, we pretty much recruit Oklahoma kids. And so it's pretty nice getting those kids that want to come home maybe after a year or two, and you got to keep your eye open. You know, you got to always pay attention to what's going on, and now with the portal, I mean, it's an everyday affair. So, but it's getting harder to persuade those D1s to come D2 because they can go D1 again now. So that's become an issue. So, but we're grateful to have these two transfers.
So, Coach Bob Hoffman, you've built this program rather quickly at Central Oklahoma. Now you're dealing with a little bit of a different set of questions because now you have expectations this year. With so many players back that were starters, how do you now handle the expectations because you built this program to such a high level?
Well, Coach Hardacre's office is right next to mine, and so I can't walk by. I mean, he has the most expectations for our program. I have the most expectations for his, so that kind of works really well. So every morning we talk about each other's program, how good they're going to be. But I think that's what you want. That's where you want to be. That's what you want to be about. That's why you do it. And you want to be the best at everything you get a chance to work at, and you want your kids to be the best every day out. And I think anytime you can get chosen, you know, a lot of people shy away from say, well, we got chosen first. I don't know if I like that or not. Garbage, man. I want to be the best. I want people to think we're the best. We're not there, and Lord knows who the best is in our league right now. We all know who that is, but we want to fight to get there, and that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Anybody else? Well, we want to thank both coaches for being here with us from Central Oklahoma. Best wishes to the Bronco programs this year, both men's and women's. And we're going to go ahead and bring Brenda back up as we introduce Lincoln College. Thank you.
All right, we are ready for Lincoln to approach the stage. Women's coach Andrea Mize and head men's coach Ed Wilson. As they're coming to the stage, we'll talk a little bit about their seasons last year. The Lincoln women went 2-20 in the 2021 season. Andrea Mize is beginning her second season as head coach. The Lincoln men posted a 12-11 record in the 2021 season. Ed Wilson is in his first season as interim head coach of the Lincoln men's basketball program. He spent the past 7 seasons as the team's top assistant coach. So we will start by each of you coaches making an opening statement and then opening it up to questions. Again, those of you watching on the MIAA network, you can participate by going to Twitter and using hashtag AskMIAA to ask either of our questions or either of our coaches a question. So, Andrea, would you like to start?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you guys for being here today. Honored to finally get to be here. Obviously, first year during COVID, wasn't able to be here. You know, we returned 6 players out of my squad last year. One of those players had a season-ending injury 3 games in and was our second leading scorer. So, big addition with her coming back. The other 4 out of the 5 were starters, with the 5th one being our 6th man. So really liked our top 6 last year. Brought in 9 newbies this year. Me having a junior college background, specifically in Florida, we knew exactly where we wanted to go. And so we brought in a lot of junior college players, not only just from this area, but Iowa Western, Cloud, and then brought in one local kid from Helias who made a good run at the state tournament last year. So I'm excited. We're super young again this year. Have 2 seniors, 1 junior. All of my kids are eager to take their COVID years, so we have 8 sophomores. A lot of those are junior college transfers we got this year. and then 4 freshmen. 2 of those freshmen were starters last year that get to be freshmen again this year. So it's basically a redo for us. I knew when I took over at Lincoln that this was not going to be a sprint. It was going to be a marathon. Obviously, being in the MIAA, there's a lot of respect here with what challenges we will have with our opponents. But I think our core is coming back, and they're teaching our new kids exactly where we want to be moving forward and setting that standard.
Like everybody else, I'm excited to be here. Thanks to Mike and administration for putting it on. It's always good to come back home to Kansas City, get some barbecue. But yeah, man, I'm excited about this year. It's my first year as head coach. I got a great bunch of guys. I got 6 returners, and we added 7 new players. Thus far to this point, we've had some exciting workouts, and just like my group, looking forward to coaching them, and just looking forward to a great season.
All right, we'll open it up to questions from those of you watching online or here. David?
Ed, you've been an assistant coach in this conference for a long time. What do you think that experience is going to do to help you now that you're the head coach?
Just being around the league for 7 years, I know the league, I know the talent. And one thing I say to people, obviously when I recruit, and just people outside here don't know. I mean, I believe it's the toughest D2 conference in the country. And I think the main reason, and I'm saying it all sports, is more. It's a lot to do with the coaches. I think you got some really good coaching in this league. Like somebody said previously or earlier, a lot of guys in this league really be at the D1 level and be winning at the D1 level. Obviously, just been around and been recruiting for Lincoln for 7 years. I know the type of guys it takes to be, to be at the top of this league.
Andrea, this is your 2nd year, and welcome to Lincoln. Your first year is the COVID year.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very difficult for everyone, but being a first-year head coach with the program, what challenges did you face last year, and how much are you looking forward to this year?
I think the biggest challenge for me was putting a team together that I felt comfortable with. By the time I was, given the job in June, we had already had multiple players in the portal that had left. Blessing, curse, you can kind of take it either way. But I was able to get some of my junior college players to come with me from College of Central Florida. Still have all 4 of them with me. One will be a senior this year. She's been with me all 4 years, and Haley Holloway. Nia Jackson, who was our leading scorer last year, will be a sophomore again this year, and then Deja Jackson, a senior, and Ashton Ingram, a sophomore again. So that was our core. I think that was a good base for where we needed to go, but it really stunted, I believe, our recruitment because we were doing everything electronically. You weren't able to go out and recruit, and so, the one thing I think my staff did a very good job of this year was we actively recruited from the start of the summer when I got the job and was able to put a staff together. And I think that shows with the 9 that we brought in. Some of those should be Division I players, and they are here with us. So that speaks, on them. And some of that is also thanks to Ed Wilson. He has a good Kansas City connect. So if you see on our roster a lot of Kansas City kids, I can't take credit for that. It's the man to my left. But I think we were able to go and figure out throughout season what we needed and kind of pick and choose. And with my junior college background, a lot of those kids came from Florida. Some of them came from the Kansas City area. And some were in the Jayhawk Conference. So I truly believe that the JUCO kids are built different. Me being a former walk-on at Indiana, I'd say I'm built different. It's something that I'm drawn to, and the players are really drawn to me as well. And so we link up, and we're able to get the most out of them, even if it's only for 2 years. Thankfully, with COVID, we get 3 years with them now.
Ed, would you like to take any credit for some of those Kansas City recruits?
I cannot. Coaching them, they work hard. I see them day in and day out for the past year or so, and I mean they're always working. It's always working, always on the road, always recruiting. All I did was offer up that Missouri had a lot of talent. Kansas City, St. Louis, Springfield. In women's basketball and really all basketball. But she took it and she ran with it. I look forward to them being a great team here in the future. just because I see how hard the coaching staff works.
So, Coach Wilson, obviously you've been on the bench for quite a while, know the program inside and out. You're moving over a seat now. Talk about the culture that you want to build at Lincoln, your personal culture.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, me and John, man, we worked together pretty well the last 7 years to help build the new Lincoln culture. You know, I would say this, the culture wouldn't change much. It's still the same. You know, I want to give, you know, our kids the best opportunity to be successful, and obviously, you know, academically and on the floor, you know, and also try to, you know, win a championship, or, you know, get over the hump, try to get to the NCAA tournament. But again, you'll probably see some John Mosley influenced things on the floor this year, but also you will see some Ed Wilson.
So talk about that a little bit further. You've had a great mentor. John Mosley is so passionate, cares so much about his players. Talk about your personality and what you want to bring to the program.
So again, I mean, I think that's why we were so good together, because we basically were the same on that. Very passionate about my players. You know, I'm really big on discipline. That's one thing you will see. We will be disciplined. You know, I recruit high character guys. The group I got in, the new group I brought in, them guys have been great, excellent. And the guys we've had before, they've done a good job of showing, you know, the Lincoln culture. You know, obviously we lost 3 all-league guys last year, and I think we did a great job replacing them with talent, with talented high character guys.
Andrea, I want to build on what you said earlier, being a walk-on at Indiana, really coaching at the junior college level and being drawn to that sort of player. What does that mean to you, and how does that translate into your style of play, how you want your teams to play?
Yeah, I think that being my first head coaching job, it was not somewhere I ever thought I'd go. I thought I'd be at the NAIA level and then go D2 and then, you know, possibly D1 assistant or maybe vice versa. But I also knew that I had a really big itch for wanting to be a head coach. And as most of you know, in Florida JUCO, if you get a call to take a head coaching job, you don't say no. So being at the College of Central Florida, having the ability to recruit the way I did, I mean, we were fully funded and able to turn that program around by year 2, really helped me understand how determined junior college players are, because for some reason they've been told you're not ready or it's just not there yet. And so I think I can relate to my players in a fact of when I was a walk-on at Indiana, it was you're 5'9", you can't play a 2 guard. You need to be a point guard. And I had 3 coaches in 4 years. So after my freshman year, that coach leaves. Kurt Miller comes in and he says, I don't care how tall you are, what position do you want to play? Because you have to believe in the position that you want to play. And I said, I think I want to be a 2 guard, but you're going to say I'm too short. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, he brings in a 5'4" point guard from Cincinnati. So the joke was kind of on me. But I truly believe that I'm able to have real conversations with my players because of our experiences, and we can relate. And I know that, you know, people have always told me as I climb the ladder that the relationship aspect will go away or it will be strained. And I just don't believe in that. I think the only difference I have changed is the development aspect. In JUCO, you do a lot of developmental work. That's why they're there. I have a great assistant in Rob McDonald, and he's kind of taken that over. I have an even better grad assistant in Alex Gordon. He's also taken that over. He played at North Florida. So them being able to take that off my shoulders so I can still make sure that the things that are important to me, like having the conversations and the relationships with my players, is still intact. So I think when I challenge them as basketball players, they know that it's coming from a place of love, and it's only to help them grow as people.
Yeah, I love that. And then, but how does that translate into style of play as you get out in this MIAA conference, that so many great teams that you're going to face? How does Lincoln look different than your opponents? What do you bring?
We're passionate. I mean, I think you could tell I'm by far the youngest in this chair, besides probably Will Martin at Missouri Western. So there's got to be something different, right? And it's the passion, it's the enthusiasm, it's the willingness to grow and evolve. We don't have all the answers when we're this young. Heck, I think even when I'm 55, I'm not going to have all the answers, but the willingness to grow and to evolve with your players and to go through it with them hand in hand instead of making it a dominant relationship. I truly believe that that's what empowers my players to be better. And Lincoln's already different. We're the only HBCU in the MIAA. So why not use that to our advantage? When I took over here, I knew I wasn't going to look like any other team on the court. I knew we weren't going to play like any other team on the court. Obviously the Slifers and everybody else have been doing this for years, and I cannot mimic what they've already done. I'm not going to reinvent that wheel, so I'm going to create my own wheel and see if it works.
So I've got one for both of you. When John Mosley was up here, he just kept talking about passion for his guys, and both of you have mentioned the word passion in the last couple of minutes here. So the platform's yours. If you can, talk about the passion for your players and talk about your players. It's clear you both have great passion. So talk about your players. It's your platform.
Again, yeah, man, I love all my guys. Been in the seat, even been in the assistant seat. One thing about it, when I'm recruiting, I build relationships with them, and I get to know them on a personal level as well as athletically. And it's just being a former athlete. I believe them things are important, and a lot of times your student athletes take on your personality, and and I'm a highly competitive guy. I'm a guy I love hard. And I mean, when I say that, we're going to have fun, but there's going to be the times I have to discipline you, and you're going to know it's all out of love. But I just want to use this platform as far as basketball, to help these guys out in life as well. And that's what I do it for.
I'm going to have to agree with Ed on everything he just said. If you ever notice, and we're about to put out a video about the locker room that my staff and I just redid, and one of the main walls when you walk in says next play mentality. It's not against anything that we want to be. It's exactly where we want to be. And I laughed the other day because I walked into practice and Wu's assistant is wearing next play mentality on his chest. Then I'm doing something else, and Coach Wu will talk about dedicated or disciplined, and you walk in our locker room, and one of the things we just did it's called the DDP, and it's dedicated, disciplined, and passionate. I think we both would say we would embody that 100%. So I think our ability to relate to our players and to have those conversations, I don't think we look like any other head coaches. I mean, we're sitting there cutting up with our kids afterwards. We're having conversations, we're joking, they're making us laugh. I told him the other day, he looks the happiest I've seen him in the year and a half I've known him, because he's just able to be himself and really let that personality come to life. And I think when you give your kids, all of you, they're going to give the same in return. And it's no different when we're giving everything. Sometimes it's a little bit harder because like you said, you love really hard and they're going to break your heart. It's just like the cycle of life. You're going to get your heart broken, but you're trying your best to give everything you can to those players. And sometimes I fall short. I know Coach would say he falls short too. But I'll be the first one to get a towel out and do a towel push with one of my players because my alarm went off in a meeting and I know better. Last year my assistant was doing wind sprints and a walkthrough because he walked on the bus late and he knew better, so he did the wind sprints. It's just we're all on the same platform, and not one person's above the other, and no one's bigger than the team.
I love the passion, both of you. Thank you for sharing that. Just to finish up, we have like a minute left. Your expectations for the season this year, each of you.
I expect us to be highly competitive, really great discipline. I have a good group, good talented group. Right now, the guys, they mesh together. They're highly coachable, and they come together, like a family. And I expect us to do some good things. When you got guys that's coachable, and you guys, they want to play for one another, you can expect good or great things, and that's what I expect.
We won 2 games my first year. We had not won a conference game in 3 years before I got there. So the first one, you would have thought it was just the best thing ever. Second one, it was like we won the Super Bowl, and secretly I'm hitting my head against the wall because I've never had a losing season. So, I tell my kids all the time, we are going to show that we're built different this year. And obviously COVID tested that last year with you're on the road and your game gets canceled and you have to go back, or the game gets delayed, or the bench is opposite of where it normally is. And so you have to be able to adjust. But I think the character of the players in terms of how they're built different, I want to see that shine through this year.
Great. Thank you very much for both of you sharing, and best of luck this season. Ed Wilson and Andrea Mize, Lincoln.
Thank you.
Thank you. John will come up now to introduce Northeastern State to the stage.
Okay, we'd like to welcome to the stage Northeastern State. Please come on up. We have head women's coach Fala Suianoa and head men's coach Jay Havens. You okay?
Great.
All right, terrific. Coach Suianoa enters her 5th year with the Riverhawks as the head coach. Last year, the women finished the 2021 season 6-16. On the men's side, the men went 5-17. This will be Coach Jay Havens' 2nd season leading the Riverhawks. Please go ahead with your opening comments. Coach Suianoa, fire away.
Great. First, of course, thank you, Mike Racy, the MIAA college basketball experience. What an incredible venue that we're at to experience Media Day. I'm excited. I brought my assistant coach, Heidi Messer, and 2 of our seniors, Megan and Morgan Lee, and we're really excited to be here. We're looking forward to having a great season this year and getting to play all of our games and staying very healthy. But we're off to a good start this preseason, and we're looking forward to putting things together this next couple weeks as we prepare for the season, and just want to have some fun playing basketball.
Well, being this late in the day, obviously going to repeat some things, but very thankful to the league. This is the first time I've had the opportunity to be in the CBE, and it's a great facility. First-class event, as always, when you're talking about our conference and putting things on. And the other word you've heard all day is normal. It feels normal to be doing this in person and not looking at a computer screen, and anxious to get started with practice, anxious to get some continuity. Not have to worry about testing every Monday morning, not have to worry about getting quarantined and shut down, and God forbid having to watch another of my games on a laptop from my room, all the things that went along with last year. So we're excited about the opportunity to get started and hopefully have a normal year and get to continue to build our program and do it the right way.
So, questions? David?
This is for the men's coach. What did you learn about the MIAA going through the season last year?
Well, it's obviously it's a great league, and I knew that, having coached in the region and then previously coaching at Drury University in Springfield, right in the middle of the MIAA footprint. So we've competed against these programs for years. The one thing I know is everybody puts significant resources into men's basketball. You're gonna have great coaching. You're gonna have great players. You're gonna play in elite facilities in front of big crowds. As a competitor, as a coach, I relish that. I love that opportunity. Filling out a preseason bracket, a preseason poll. You start in our league with the defending national champion. Then you go to the team that won the conference tournament, and then trying to sort out the rest of them. I mean, I think that says a lot about our league. Just what order do you put them? There's so many good programs. You've got to be at your best every night, and I think that's what we're trying to get across to our team right now, just the importance of every day, because that's going to come into play when it's time to compete. You're going to be going up against top-level coaching players and playing in elite facilities every night. So it's a fun league, it's a great league, and as a competitor, I think I look forward to that challenge. That's one of the things that drew me back to my alma mater was to compete in this conference, and that's what we obviously sell to recruits, that you're going to have a chance to play at the highest level.
Coach, you said that you brought Megan and Morgan Lee here today. Why don't you take an opportunity to talk about them as people and players and your expectations for this year?
Sure, yeah. We're excited. These 2 young ladies came in. We have 3 seniors this year, but Megan and Morgan have been with me for 4 years, and so for them to come into their senior year is pretty exciting. They're kind of the laugh of the group. You know, you can hear their laugh literally in a room and point them out. What they're going to do is they're going to bring really great energy they have every day since they've come into the program, and they just give us something to look forward to every day. They give their whole self to the program. They work their tails off. They don't complain. They do everything that's being asked of them. And so we're excited to see them this senior season really rise up to the occasion. And as far as expectations are concerned, you know, they have some shoes to fill. We're missing one of our top guards that we've had for the last couple of years. And so we're hoping that Megan and Morgan will fill that void. They're ready for it. They're motivated, and they've been dedicated to working on their game to prepare them for this senior season. So we're excited for them. And then, of course, we brought in a transfer senior, MIAA Langstaff, and we're excited to see what she brings to the table. She's similar to them in the sense that she's brought really incredible energy and excitement and enthusiasm to the program, and also some height, which has helped us. And I think overall we're excited about our recruiting class. We got bigger, and we really felt good about the Oklahoma girls that we brought in. Our 4 freshmen are all from in-state and small school girls, but high caliber basketball players, great work ethic, and so we're excited. We're piecing it together. 7 returners, 6 new players, a couple transfers, so we're feeling like we're going to do our work every day and get 1% better. That's our goal, and we're going to challenge each other, and the twins and Mal are going to do a really nice job of bringing the energy and setting that expectation for us.
And as far as Collins, she's your returning scorer as well. You know, how much do you lean on her? How much have you built around her to, you know, complement what she does?
Absolutely, yeah. We're fortunate to have Z back. She was quite the force last season. She really worked her tail off to get her body in great shape, and I think what followed that was her incredible play. She's a hard-nosed competitor, and she forces people to play around her, and so we have addressed that with our recruiting, adding some more shooters to the table, some people that can put it on the ground, and some competitors. I think at the end of the day, we are in the toughest D2 league in America, and so we have to be prepared to defend. And I think Zaria's, you know, she's got the natural knack to lead the team just because she likes to score, she likes to rebound, she likes to play hard, and she forces everyone around her. And so now we've positioned our team to not just make Zaria the focal point, but just allow Zaria to do what she does, and allow the rest of the girls to pitch in, you know, total team effort, and we're excited about what that will look like.
So, Coach Havens, so you walk into the head coaching role, and COVID hits right away, and obviously you dealt with it, as everybody did, an incredible amount of challenges in your first year as a head coach. What's the next step for the Riverhawks program, on the men's program?
Well, you mentioned, you know, we as a staff got the job late, had a shutdown right before practice started, had an additional one right after practice started, had to move our first 2 games. Like I mentioned earlier, just getting that back to normal where we can have a routine, we can feel like we're getting better and building a program. And I think the biggest thing for us, the next thing, is to attract the right young men to our program. And I think our staff has done a tremendous job of identifying those young men this year. We're excited about 10 newcomers to go with 6 returners. And practices have been competitive. The talent level is good. We're obviously trying to build. We're trying to build a program. And I don't want to forget last year, believe it or not. Because a lot of the things we talk about as coaches, you know, being grateful for the opportunity you have to play, because it can be taken like that. It can, and we saw that. Being thankful for your health, seeing players go through and have, you know, ramifications after they were sick, season-ending injuries, career-ending injuries that our team had last year. I think all those things, as a coach, the things you talk about, that it's easy to say, and maybe harder to absorb when you have to live it and they can see it. So I think there was a lot of valuable lessons from our hardships, from our challenges last year, that I know will make me better as a coach. I think our returners that were in the program, it will make them better as people and as players. And so we're building it with the kind of guys that we want to be around every day, and I think we've done a good job of attracting those to the program and just trying to get better every day. And when we have a chance to compete, we're gonna be thankful for that opportunity to go out and compete as hard as we can.
Coach Tui, you know, Coach Havens just hit on something I had talked about earlier in the day, and while there was a lot of focus on the challenges of COVID, I talked to a lot of coaches throughout the season that said, you know, when we take a step back for a moment, we actually learn to appreciate what we do have, whether it's our health, whether it's the ability to play the game. And so I guess I want to throw to you, as Coach Havens mentioned, what did you learn during the pandemic? And in essence, what were some of the positives that possibly could have come out of such a challenging situation that maybe you reflected upon?
Sure, yeah, I think you said it. I mean, it's taken some time, some personal time, some family time. I think that was really, really important. Reconnecting. I actually had a scare in my family with COVID really bad this past summer, so it really opened my eyes about taking care of myself, encouraging the vaccination with my players, family, friends, and so it was reflective. Essentially, you just looked at it and thought, you know what, I get a free day today. There's no basketball practice. There's no film to break down. There's no paperwork to do, and you know, I'm going to enjoy life. And I've kind of committed myself to that here this last spring, summer, and I'm a lot happier because of it. And I think my players are getting to experience a really happy, relaxed coach too.
Wonderful. So one thing I just want to give you the opportunity to talk about for both of you. For those who have not been to your facility, you guys have a spectacular facility you play in. If you don't mind, if you could talk about your facility and the tremendous support the Riverhawk program has in your community would be wonderful. Coach Suyanoa, if you want to go first.
Sure. Yeah. If you haven't been, you need to come. Northeastern has the best gym in facility in this conference, in my opinion. It's really beautiful, state of the art. It's an incredible recruiting tool, and our community and our student fans and everybody has really bought into number one, creating it a couple years back and investing. Our community invested in bringing that event center to life, and it's a lot of fun. Our band gets in there, and you know, it's ringing off the walls, and sometimes we get feedback from other coaches that it's also hard to hear in timeouts, and so that makes us really, really excited and happy to hear. But it's an incredible facility. Jay and I both were very lucky to play in the much smaller facility on campus, Jack Dobbins Fieldhouse, and so to get to experience on the coaching side such a great facility. We're so fortunate, and I guess I'll let Jay talk about that.
Yeah, hard to expand. That was a great answer. It's a beautiful place to walk into every day, and I've been blessed to be a college basketball coach. That's what I wanted to do, and to become that, and then you know, get to go into that facility every day. It's special, and to do that at your alma mater, I think that's really special. So we love selling that to recruits. I can't imagine going in there and not, you know, picturing yourself running up and down that court, having replays of good plays on the four-sided screen, and you know, going back the next day and watching in our film room. There's just so many nice things about the facility. But on top of that, it's a great university. It's a great place. We have a great community that supports us. So it really is the elite facility on top of all the other things, I think, makes us a great situation.
Terrific. Other than that, coaches, thank you so much for being here today, and best wishes to the Riverhawk program this season. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and take a 15-minute break, and we'd like to simply thank the college basketball experience, the spectacular facility. I'd like to thank the MIAA Network for broadcasting today, and certainly want to thank the presenting sponsor for today, Seigfreid Bingham, for all of their support of the MIAA. We're going to go ahead and take a 15-minute break and be right back.
Well, the secret is using...
Are we ready? Ron, are you ready? All right, well, thank you so much to Seigfreid Bingham, the official sponsor of our 2021 MIAA Basketball Media Day. What a day it has been. Thank you to the college basketball experience for this fantastic facility to host our event today. And we just want to remind you that the 2021 MIAA Basketball Media Day is being broadcast live for free on the MIAA network. So thank you to all of you that are joining us on the MIAA network, the schools, the media, the guests here to the college basketball experience. And again, thank you to Seigfreid Bingham for your sponsorship. So important and so critical for the corporate sponsorship to make events like this happen. We've heard from the coaches and the players all day long what a big time event this is, and we wouldn't be able to do that without that sponsorship. So thank you so much. So welcome to all the fans watching us remotely, and for all of you that are able to be here in person. I know everyone is excited about that. If you're watching on the MIAA network and you have a Twitter account, make sure you use the hashtag AskMIAA to ask a question of one of our coaches here, and if your question is used, you will receive a prize from the MIAA office. All right, I'm Brenda Van Lingen, glad to be joining you once again. John McCarthy will be up next to introduce the coaches from Washburn.
All righty, I'd like to welcome the coaches from Washburn up to the stage. On the women's side, we have Coach Ron McHenry. On the men's side, head coach Brett Ballard. The Ichabod women finished last season, the 21-22 season, with a record of 12-12, made it to the MIAA semifinals last year. This will be Coach McHenry's 22nd season at Washburn as the head coach. The Ichabod men compiled a record of 20-7 during the 2021 season. They finished second in the regular season standings, and they won the program's 6th MIAA tournament championship and advanced to the NCAA tournament for the 15th time in program history. This is Coach Brett Ballard's 5th season leading the Ichabods. We'd like to turn it over for opening statements. We'll start with Coach McHenry and then to Coach Ballard.
Again, thank you to the MIAA. I was talking to one of our players who was coming down and hadn't been at the tournament. Obviously hadn't been here because of last year with COVID. I said, you know, it's she was a D1 transfer, and I said, well, you know, you'll be pleasantly surprised by the tournament, and I hope we get to play that this year down in Kansas City, and by the Coaches Media Day. It's a big time deal. Like I said, our players that have been here really appreciate it, and obviously the coaches do too. And it takes a lot of time and effort to do that, so we want to thank the MIAA doing that. And I know my players too. I brought 2 of my players down, both seniors. One's a 5th year, one's maybe a 5th year as well. Hunter Bentley and then Nuria Barrientos. And Nuria probably want to know how I pronounced her name, but I read it right here. And she's so nice, she won't tell me I did it incorrectly. But both those players are down with us today. Hunter was a second team all conference, and Nuria was honorable mention, the MIAA player. We count a lot on them to be players for us. Only great players, not only great players, but great people, great teammates, and really enjoying the program. Statements, you know, last year we were, you know, anybody could say, we had a couple injuries that banged us up a little bit. We were able to compete at times. We didn't score it very well. We could defend it because we had to. So, you know, coming into this season, we knew we'd have to be better scoring, keep the defense where it is. I think the players coming back that are coming off injuries are healed now, ready to go, which adds to our depth and gives us the ability to score at a better level. We've got some transfer kids and some high school kids I think that'll come in and at some point be able to really help us a lot this year in that area. So we're excited where we're at, like everybody is. I like my group. We haven't had a lot of time with them, but this team here has a chance to be pretty good. But in this league, you know, you better be really good. There's a lot of teams up the top. I think we were picked 6, and you know, there's a lot of great teams ahead of us. There's a lot of great teams behind us, and so we know we have to be better than we were last year in a number of areas. But I think we have the players. I know they're committed after the game last year, the final game. It was really important to us to commit to winning and getting higher up in this league. You can say that a lot, but it's really hard to get there because of the talent level in this league and the teams that are already established. Because of COVID, we're deeper than we've ever been, but I think everybody else is the same boat. We've got some transfer kids. Everybody else has got transfer kids. So you can get better on paper, but you got to get better on that floor, and that's where we're at. We're excited to get this thing started. Like I said, I like this group, and I like the returners. And then, we're going to mix in our transfer kids and the new freshmen. And I think hopefully we will be able to compete at the top level because that's been our goal since the last game last year.
Well, like Coach said, we're really excited about being here today and appreciate Commissioner Racy and everybody that puts us on. This is a big-time event. I also want to thank Commissioner Racy and his team for what they allowed us to do last year. It would have been easy to fold the tents, and a lot of leagues did that with all the COVID stuff going on, and they found a way for us to play games. And I know that wasn't easy, but I know my staff and our players, everybody involved with our program, greatly appreciated that opportunity and know how much that work that took to put into that. So we're thankful for that, and Commissioner Racy and your team here did an incredible job to allow that to happen. I think we got every league game in, if I'm not mistaken, one of the few conferences in the country to get that done, and that says a lot about our leadership. I have a great nucleus coming back, and I'm excited about this team. We've got a great group of guys who had some success last year. They're fun to be around on and off the court. They do things the right way. They prepare the right way. So I'm excited about the potential of what this team could accomplish this year. Our backcourt has a chance to be really, really good. Got some guys coming back. Tyler Guyman in particular, that was an All-American last year, that had just a phenomenal year last year, has been a competitor and a winner for us. Jalen Lewis, who's here with us today too, and Jalen's a winner and had a great season last year. MIAA tournament MVP. Tyler Nelson, Connor Defball, Levi Brown, all guys with experience in that backcourt, and then Johnny Klossing comes back at our center spot. So, with that nucleus of guys who have been through some battles and wars, I feel like we're going to have a chance to be good. Like Coach said on the women's side, and same on the men's. There's great coaches, great players. So we know that this league will be a battle every night, and we're going to have to hook up and be ready to play. So much respect for everybody and what we got to try to get done against these type of teams. But I'm excited and feel like this could be a fun year for Washburn basketball.
Any questions from the media? Go ahead in the back. She's got a microphone for you. Here she comes.
Coach Ballard, how much confidence does it give you guys that you were able to take down Northwest twice, but then the sour ending in the NCAA tournament? How does that also feel you guys going into this year?
Yeah, I think when it comes to them specifically, we've got so much respect for what they've accomplished. I think me personally, I have so much respect for how they run their program, how their players act and handle themselves. If there's any team that could be puffing their chest and have guys act a certain way, it'd probably be them, but their guys are incredible the way they act and conduct their business. And so, I know our players and our staff and our program as a whole has a ton of respect for them. And so we had 3 incredible games with those guys last year. We were able to get them at their place. They got us at our place in a one-possession game, and then we were able to get them in the MIAA tournament. And then they handled us pretty good in the NCAA tournament. They've been the standard. And I think that, it's encouraging for us that we've taken steps to hopefully try to close that gap. But at the same time, it doesn't really mean all that much. I think it gives us some confidence, but now we got to come back this year and it's a new year. You look at what's happening with the Chiefs. It doesn't really matter what you did in the past. You got to show up this year. And our guys, I think understand that you won't know till you actually start playing games. And a lot of that comes down to how we prepare and how much are we willing to sacrifice and work, which I think these guys will. But definitely, because of our experience of playing in the MIAA tournament championship game, 3 out of 4 years now that I've been there, and playing in some big games like that, I think that'll hopefully carry confidence over into this year.
And I talked to Jalen and Tyler earlier. They said they're just as tight off the court as they are on the court. How have you seen that, and just how much does their chemistry add to your team?
Yeah, these guys have been through some battles together, and those 2 in particular have been in some big games. So I think that, they understand each other on the court. I think that this group is a group that, handles themselves the right way, when they're away from the court too. And I think for me, that doesn't always matter. Sometimes you got groups that aren't as tight as others. It's nice when your team is close off the court. That doesn't always matter. But I think it's beneficial in that, they care about each other. Hopefully they're going to go to battle and war for each other. And this is a group, again, that I think they want to see each other succeed. And we have some guys that are just unselfish in this program that, will play the right way and do things the right way so that other guys can have some success. And so I think that'll be beneficial to us too.
And the last one I got, Coach McHenry, we saw some flashes last year of you guys being a really good team. What needs to happen this year to make that more consistent?
Well, I mean, like I said, we were banged up a little bit. We lost 3 players who were in our top 10 and a couple starters. And so that affected us a little bit. Like I said, we were able to, I think we beat Central in the quarterfinals at their place. We played them well the game before that, and they ended up finishing second in the country. So we knew we could at times play. Again, our biggest issue last year was being able to score the basketball. On nights when we scored it, we were pretty tough to beat. But when we didn't score it, then it was a dogfight. And in this league, you can't just out-guard somebody, especially the top teams. So it gave us confidence, and plus a lot of the kids that are coming back, it gave them great experience. I mean, it really did. There were some young players that were playing some big minutes for us late, and that experience and that confidence to know that they can play against those kind of teams is a big factor. It makes you work harder in the off season. It makes you work, hard in the fall, getting ready to play. It makes you work as a better player. Just that confidence, and to know that you can play with them. We obviously knew we couldn't do it the way we did last year, and so we had players that worked hard in the off season and got themselves in position to hopefully change that. But again, it's until we put it on paper. Paper is great, but we got to put it together this week and start heading into the season. But it was a huge confidence builder for those players, and the experience. When we had so young kids playing there late in the year, and some kids that were just out of position playing, to be able to compete in this league at times, felt like that confidence and that experience would really carry over for this year.
Coach Ballard, just going through the Central Region tournament up there in the Elite Eight, it was kind of proven how loaded that Central field was. So just how good of experience was that for your guys to go up there, play a couple games, see a lot of basketball up there, and kind of see the good teams outside the MIAA as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we've been to the tournament a few times now, and, our region is as good as anybody. And, Northwest has won it 3 out of 4. Northern was in the finals and lost on the last second a couple years ago. Augustana won it recently. So, if you can find your way out of our region, you're going to have a great shot at going and winning the whole thing. And, it's challenging. Division II is challenging. There's a reason we have the regions, and I get that. And budget and travel, and there's a lot of reasons for that. It's a little bit hard for us because our region is, typically one of the best, if not the best in the country. And so, at the end of the day, what you hope happens is you prepare well enough along the way to give yourself a chance. You hope you get there somewhat healthy, and you're going to play against the best of the best there. And we've been there. I think the next step for our program would be, to win some games there and try to get to that Elite Eight, which is not easy to do. But certainly good experience for our guys. Was proud that we were able to win an NCAA tournament game last year, and lost to the eventual national champ. And although we'd like to win those games, I'm proud of what we were able to accomplish.
Coach McHenry, I appreciate that you said you can't just outguard teams in this conference. You got to be able to score the basketball. With your experience over the years, what do you think is the right balance of inside-outside scoring? And to that end, what's your emphasis going to be this year as you return those injured players?
Well, obviously, to score the basketball at a higher level, you've got to have what they call easy baskets or, paint touches. And we weren't able to get as many paint touches as we wanted. Couldn't get the foul line as many times as we wanted to. So then obviously you're going to shoot a lower percentage, and it's just going to be a tougher game to score. We preferably, I like to go through the post area and play more of an inside game. And our posts last year were small forwards or power forwards that were playing posts. They did a great job. They did all they could do down there, but there were nights where we just couldn't. There's some big posts in this league that can play, and we just couldn't do it down there. So then we had to rely on perimeter shots and those type of things. So it was just a matter of really kind of getting a little more size into our program. Some kids that we think can play down the post area. And then the key now is getting those post players that were really good for us last year, the power forwards, is getting them moved into the 4 spot, the 3 spot, so we can continue to play them. And so that takes a lot of development on their part. It's a big difference between a post and a 4 and a 3. And so that's been their off season. But I think we've got some inside players that can give us a little more touches in there and things that we can do to ease up that that scoring burden. If you're just shooting jumpers all night, you better shoot it really well. If you can get paint touches and what they call easy basket, which I'm not sure that's an easy basket around the rim, but your percentage is going to be much higher. I mean, post players shoot 50 to 60%. Guards not always shooting that. So if you can get that number up and catch some easy baskets, get the foul line, and it's not a huge number. I'm not talking going from 58 points, which I think we scored last year, to 80. I don't think that's the goal. The goal is to continue your defense the way it is. You're going to lose a little bit of that with a little more offense, but you keep that number there, board at 10 better, and you'll score 65, 66, then you're in every game against anybody in the conference.
So, Coach Ballard, it's kind of a two-part question for you. I watched you guys play quite a bit last year and watched Tyler Guyman since he's come into your program, and he's been good from day one, but, man, that season last year was just phenomenal, and he is just tough. One, if you can, talk a little bit about Tyler and his toughness, what he means to your program. But at the same time, the more I watched your program, I kept thinking, Jalen Lewis is really good, and Johnny Clausing's really good, and Levi's really good, and Tyler Nelson's really good. So while Tyler gets a lot of credit, and in my opinion, deservedly so, he's really, really good and had a phenomenal year, you got a really good balanced team. And so if you can maybe use the platform to talk about Tyler, what he means to your program, but also give the credit to the other guys. I know you've already mentioned it, but I think these other guys are really good college basketball players that help you become one of the elite teams in America now.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you mentioning Tyler, and this is not a knock on any other player in our conference or the country, but if I had to choose one guy that I'd want to start my team with, and you gave me the pick of any player in the college country, I wouldn't pick another guy other than Tyler Guyman. That's how much I think of him. He averaged 20 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and 1.5 steals last year. And I think the rebounds for a 6-foot guard, he was top 10 in the conference. I think he was top 10 in the conference in the steals, and assists and points have been there. First player in our school history to have a triple-double, one of only 2, I think, in Division II to average those numbers across the board. So he had a phenomenal year, and he's just competitive every day. I mean, there's no magic recipe behind what he does. He doesn't like to lose. He comes in every day. He's had a phenomenal summer, phenomenal offseason. He's going to come in every day and compete, and he's been special to coach. And I don't know, to be honest with you, I hope he doesn't have to do that again this year, because I think some other guys have gotten better, and I don't think he'll have to do quite as much this year, and it'd be almost impossible to do that again. But he's been special for us. Jalen Lewis has been terrific, another kid that every day comes in, work ethic, never has a bad day, great attitude, great kid, played extremely well as the year went along, and played great in MIAA tournament. Tyler Nelson's really gotten better. Connor Defball is a guy that I think has taken another step, that's played in big games. Levi Brown, as a freshman, played big games. And then Johnny Clausing, as a guy, we've got to get healthy. Johnny's a little banged up, but was one of the better big guys in our league. We try to recruit the right kids from this region. All those guys are Kansas City or Wichita area kids. And then, what you hope you can do is develop them. And all those guys have really bought into our strength and development program, our skill development program, getting better every day in practice. And I think, it's been fun to watch those guys mature and grow. Certainly Tyler's the catalyst of all that.
Well, Coach McHenry and Coach Ballard, thanks for being here today, and best wishes to the Ichabods this season. Let's go ahead and bring Brenda back up, and we'll continue on. Thank you.
All right, moving along, we will welcome Newman to the stage. Head women's coach Drew Johnson and head men's coach R.J. Allen. As they come to the stage, the Newman women finished 4-18 last year in the 2021 season. This will be co-head coaches Drew Johnson and Nicole Oldie Johnson's first season with the Jets. The Newman men also went 4-18 last season. This will be R.J. Allen's 5th season as the Jets head coach. So we'll ask the head coaches to make an opening comment, and then questions from the group, whether here in person or online. If you're watching online, again, use the hashtag AskMIAA if you have a question for our coaches. So, Drew, would you like to get started?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think just echoing a little bit of kind of what the group has said today, a special thank you to the MIAA for putting the event on. I've got a chance to really interact with our 2 players that are here today, talking about what this means to them and what this experience has been like today. And you could just see the smiles on their faces as they've obviously enjoyed the experience. And so special thank you for that. As far as opening comments go, we're going to be a very different new team here. We're going to return 6 players off of last year's roster, 10 new faces to the program, and then obviously when you bring in an entirely new staff, it might as well be 16 new faces. So we're all learning and growing together. I think the biggest compliment that I can give our team right now is just the enthusiasm, the excitement, the energy that they've had every day in practice so far. It hasn't been perfect, but it's been wonderful to see them just go compete every day and try to get better. And as we've grown, they just keep getting better and better and better and better. And so we're really looking forward to what this season can be for us.
Yeah, just like Drew said, we're excited to be here. I'm extremely excited to be here in person this year. It's nice to have the opportunity to, conversate with the coaches and see everyone in person. So that is extremely nice. I'm thankful to be here, thankful representing Newman University, athletic department, men's basketball program. I want to say thank you to Mike Racy and your staff for this event, but also really the leadership in the last couple years. COVID was a challenge for us, for all of us, and we were thankful to have great leadership and great communication through that. That was for myself as a coach, and I think all the coaches would agree in the league, to have that type of leadership. We're thankful to have that. So our group, we're excited. We're excited about where we're at. We're working to get better each and every day. And the nice thing about our group is that we, for the first time, we have some guys with some MIAA experience. So the way they've attacked workouts and preseason practice, just with the urgency and the understanding, the attention to detail to get better every single day, I've seen that. So that has been encouraging where we're at, and I'm excited and I'm looking forward, and we're ready to get it tipped off.
All right, thank you guys. Any questions from the audience? All right, I'll start with you, Drew.
Okay.
As you are new to the conference and people getting to know your coaching staff, of course, your wife is Nicole Oldie Johnson, who was a tremendous player at Kansas State and had a long career in the WNBA. And the two of you have been coaching together in your youth league programs and in your previous position. How do you divide what's the division of responsibilities as coaches, and how do you work together in leading your team?
Yeah, we have been doing it for a while, and it starts to just become natural for us together. It feels like when we split, players are really starting to get a feel for who's going to lead what. When it comes to guard development, a lot of that's been on my shoulders. Our forward and center development has been tackled by Nicole. I think as a program, we really emphasize player development a lot, and so those I guess divides happen really easily. When we get into the season, obviously we have a 4-year-old, we have one on the way, and we're know that home also matters, and so trying to make sure that I probably do some things that other head coaches don't always do, and Nicole probably does some stuff that maybe other people don't do. And so our roles are maybe a little different than other staffs, but it's been really, really fun to get to do it together. And no doubt, Nicole obviously had a great playing career, but one of the things for me that has been a great transition in this program is Nicole's full-time, and she wasn't full-time with us previously. And so just getting to see her interact with our players and build those relationships and, get to build a little bit more established relationships when we're recruiting and those kinds of things. It's just been special for me to get to be a part of it and witness it. And you know, everybody talks about in their programs they want to be family. Well, it doesn't get a lot closer than husband and wife. So.
And congratulations. When is your new one expected?
January 6th. I think we're at home, so it'll be it should be a pretty exciting January, I guess. So.
Good timing.
Yeah, perfect. Well planned. So.
Fantastic. John?
So, Coach Allen, you got 4 starters back. What's next for Newman basketball? Where do you go from here?
It's about getting better every single day. That's the focus every day. And like I said, just the experience to have these guys back. We actually have, 5 guys on our roster that have starter minutes, that understand, what the league looks like. The day in, the day outs, the attention to detail, the preparation that goes into it. So, from a coach's standpoint, I felt like in the past, they'll listen for so long, they have to go out and they have to actually experience it. And, we have a group that has experienced it. So to have those guys in practice every single day, to echo what you're telling the rest of the group has been refreshing and has, I'm excited about it. And I think it's going to help us move in the right direction.
So just continuing on that topic, you mentioned about your guys have been through the league now with last year and the opportunity to play. Talk about the MIAA and how tough the league is, top to bottom. This is an incredibly competitive league. Talk about it.
Absolutely. It is. It's the best league that I've ever been associated with. So there are no nights off, and I think that's, kind of the phrase amongst coaches. But, it's one thing to kind of hear about how good the MIAA is and then actually live it. And for the last 2 seasons, we've lived it. And, we're better because of it. I feel like I've grown as a coach, just, having to compete against such great coaches night in, night out, just learning to think outside the box and grow and challenge yourself as a coach has been, a positive for me. And, for our guys, our kids, it's been a phenomenal experience to compete against the best every single night. And like I said, we're not far. We've had a bunch of losses where we were right there, where you leave the arena disappointed that you didn't pull one out. But I feel like they understand, where they need to go from here, and that's where we're hoping to take the next step this year.
I do have one from Twitter. This is Alex Hamaki. This is for Coach Johnson. You were able to build Bethel College up in the NAIA ranks, taking your previous program to the first national tournament appearance in team history. What do you believe is the key to helping push Newman into becoming an MIAA powerhouse?
Yeah, I think it's something that we've been approaching in recruiting and with our current team kind of from day one. The first thing that it always takes is a tremendous buy-in from players. And we were fortunate in our previous roles to have players that were really bought in and really invested and very talented. I think we have the building blocks of that here at Newman as well. I've been super impressed with our start to the year. The goal is that every day, and Coach said it really well, every day you got to get a little bit better. But the other part of that to me is you can't get hung up on what the preseason looks like or what the first run before Christmas break looks like, or you go and you have a couple of hard games in the middle of the year. Every game, win or lose, has to be take the next step forward. And so, it was a 4-year path at Bethel, and we hope to be able to do similar things here at Newman, build and kind of go from there. But it doesn't happen also without, high character individuals, and players will always be the foundation of what we do.
So I've got one for both of you. Talk about the league overall. And I'm sorry, Coach Allen, we already asked you about, but Coach Johnson, I want to hear your thoughts on the women's side about the league itself and the depth of this league. We talk about a lot of leagues that have good teams, but the depth of this league. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that on the women's side as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed that I got the pleasure of talking in between Coach McHenry and Coach Hobson, who have been around for a couple days here. So, I think the first thing that we would look at is if you go to what ends up being the poll results, on the women's side, you have 4 teams that end up getting first place votes, which means it's a dogfight at the top, obviously. And then as you start to look through whatever else the results go, night in and night out, there's talented players, there's very talented coaches, the venues are really good, and I feel like it's a blessing to be able to coach at Newman and for Newman to be able to be in the MIAA. I think something that on the women's side, and I'm sure this goes for the men's side as well, players grow up dreaming of playing in the MIAA. I think when we started our coaching careers, Nicole and I together, it was a dream to coach in the MIAA. And so part of it is just understanding that, no nights off is a great way to say it, but bottom line is it's going to take your best all the time. I think the last thing I would say on that is Nicole and I ran a summer program for 6 years. Last year in the MIAA, 17 players that we had coached played in the MIAA. So we have a firsthand knowledge of like what it looks like and what it's going to take, and I wish all 17 of those also played for us. It'd be a big roster at Newman, but it's going to be a challenge and one we're looking forward to.
Last one for Coach Allen. What do you want people to know about your program? Just most people can read the statistics and the numbers and the record, but you've got a great platform here on the MIAA network and media here today. What do you want people to know about your program?
Yeah, I think, for us, what we really pride ourselves on is helping build individuals, help create opportunities for these young men. Graduation is what we talk about in the recruiting process more so than anything. We talk about playing in the MIAA. We talk about playing, in some of the best venues in the country and in front of some of the largest crowds. But the overall goal is graduation and doing that. And we've done that at a high level with our student athletes, and we're proud of that. We're proud that our student athletes have moved on, that are doing phenomenal things in their communities. We have kids that are in Wichita that are doing phenomenal things that have permanently moved to the city. So, that's what we're about. That's what we hang our hat on, is just, making sure that we help develop you. And I tell them, we want you to become, come full circle. You are to leave this place better than you were when you first walked through those doors for the first time, and that's character building, that's relationship building, that's the whole nine. So we really pride ourselves in that, and that's what we hang our hats on.
Fantastic. Thank you to both of you, and best of luck this season to Newman.
Thank you.
Drew Johnson and R.J. Allen. And now John will come to the stage to introduce Fort Hays State, our last team of the day.
All righty, we're going to go ahead and bring Fort Hays State to the stage. We've got head women's coach Tony Hobson, head men's coach Mark Johnson. The Fort Hays State women posted a record of 22-4 in the 2021 season. The Tigers were crowned the MIAA regular season champions and made the program's 7th NCAA tournament appearance. Tony Hobson is entering his 14th season as the head women's coach. The Fort Hays State men's team finished the season with a record of 14-14. Head coach Mark Johnson is in his 21st season leading the Tigers. Coach Hobson, if you want to start with opening remarks, followed by Coach Johnson, please.
Well, I hope the preseason poll is more accurate than it was last year for us. Being picked at the top is also always a little bit of added pressure. And really the preseason poll is not that terribly important, but it's a starting spot. We had a great year last year. We have all of our starters back, although we had a good run going through the conference. I think we won 17 straight conference games, which is really hard to do. We got bit by the injury bug and lost 2 starters in the last 3 weeks of the regular season, and it hurt us in the conference tournament and then in the regional. So we don't have those 2 back yet, and we won't to begin the season. We hope to get them both back sometime during the season. We have a couple of seniors that chose to use their COVID year and back, and they were both first-team all-conference players, Jaden Hobbs, Whitney Randall. It's great to have them back again. It's always good to have a point guard that's a great player, because I think you win a lot of close games with guards, because the ball is always in their hands. And she averaged 6 assists a year last year, and I don't think anybody else even averaged over 4 in our conference, or even 4. And we also were among the leaders in fewest turnovers. So I think that reflects a lot on her. Whitney Randall is a good scorer and a very active player, and they play well together. So we have a lot back, and we added some new faces also. So on paper, which is useless, it looks like we should be pretty good, but we'll see how things go. We had a couple players, well, more than a couple. We had several players have great years for us, and last year, and great years aren't guaranteed. Just because you come back, you still have to be ready and play well.
Just again, good to be here in person, like I've heard all day. You know, it's a great situation here, great environment. We're really lucky to have this and be a part of it. You know, looking at last year, 500, you know, was not what we're trying to do by any means, but you know, we kind of lost some guys to injuries, but I think it really it's going to pay benefits this year. We had kids that maybe we weren't expecting to play, especially young guys that got to play more than we would have ever thought, and I think you're going to see the effects of that this year, that they're going to be ready to go and have good seasons for us. Like Tony's team, we're fortunate. Jared Vidstam, a first-team all-league guy, is coming back for his COVID year. And he led the nation in double-doubles, so that's a pretty good starting point to have coming back. We're going to have old big guys and young guards, even though they're experienced. A lot of our guards will still be sophomores, and we'll play Elijah, who's basically be his first year or two. You know, and Nigel will give the one experience. But again, we're excited about this year. Feel like we should be much improved, and it's an extremely challenging and difficult league with the best teams in the country. But we got to go get them. And I mean, I think these guys have enough experience right now and ready to go. And we anticipate a much better year than we've had. So hopefully moving forward, we stay healthy and good things happen. We're excited for the challenge of the MIAA.
I guess, Tony, you mentioned the injuries, and it seems like you've been snake bit for several years with injuries. Do you evaluate and change how you go about practice or go about your season, or is it just, you know, one of those things that's part of the game?
Well, we've thought about trying to go through the season without ever practicing, but I don't know if that would work either. You know, both of these injuries last year were contact injuries. They weren't freak things. They were taking it to the basket, got hit, you know, and that's going to happen. In women's basketball, knee injuries are, I think, 8 to 1 more frequent than men's basketball. And it's just going to happen. So you do all the preventative stuff you can, and then you just hope you stay healthy. I mean, I've had teams before, earlier in my career, that we had our top 8 on the team did not miss one practice or one game for the entire year, and we played 38 games and won national titles. So you don't know. And when you say snake bit, you know, we've been unlucky. The timing of the injuries has been really, really bad towards the end of the year with when you're number 1 in the region and you lose point guards, and it's happened to us 3 times now. So we hope we have a little better luck this year, and I hope to get those kids back and into the fold and make another run at it.
And Mark, you got some of the injured players back as the season went along. How important was, I think you won 8 of your last 12 to kind of set the foundation for the offseason and this year?
Yeah, I think so. You know, we finished the year 8 out of 12, 7 out of 3. Look, or 7, yeah, 7. We went 7-3 to finish the year. Our losses were at Northwest on the road, buzzer beater at Rogers, and a 1-possession game at home against Missouri last year. You know, I mean, so we had a real close one, finishing 9-1, and that's just with having one or two of our guys back that didn't play. So again, it was a struggle early in the season. You know, but again, I think it's. Now that that's behind us, it was nothing but a benefit. Caleb Hammocky got to play 30 minutes a night, was freshman of the year. Quentin Rock played 30 minutes a night. He would have been freshman of the year if Caleb wasn't his teammate, you know, things like that. So we've had a lot of guys get a lot of game time experience, and they should not be, you know, young people anymore. They should be ready to play. And obviously, like I said, with Jared coming back, I think we have 12 guys back. We brought in 2 freshmen that we'll see if they can contribute. Then we brought in 1 transfer that I think was a need up front, a 4-man that can shoot it and bring a little more toughness to our team. Biggest thing for us is we just have to guard better. We weren't a good enough defensive team last year. And, you know, and obviously on offense, I would say we just need to take care of the ball better, but we were a pretty efficient offense. We just didn't get enough stops. So, and I think that's what young people struggle the most when they come to the next level is how hard you have to play on the other end and get stops. And it's not you know, you don't get to a guy in our league, they make the shot every time. You know, our league shoots it as well as anybody in the country. I think any conference, Division I, whatever, you go around the MIAA, our 3-point shooting is phenomenal. So you've got to get out there and guard, and hopefully our guys figured that out after a year going through it. And I think we figured it out at the end of the year, and we hope it carries over to this coming year.
We do have a question from Twitter. This is from Mason Gentry. Coach Hobson, how do you see your additions, your newcomers this year helping push this team to the next level and hopefully another MIAA championship?
Well, they're going to play a big part just because, like I said, we don't return 2 of those stars because they're injured. We didn't have a big recruiting class because we had 6 freshmen last year, so we brought in 3 freshmen. And they're going to play a role. Our freshmen are good players. Our incoming ones. Now we have 9 freshmen, last year's and this year's. We also brought in a couple transfers that are experienced players. One of those kids will not play this year. We will probably medical redshirt her. The other player, Lauren West, will be a good player for us. She's a big guard, plays on the wing where we need a little depth with the injury situation. So I think they're going to help us a lot. I think we will probably shoot the ball a little better from the perimeter, and we weren't that bad at it last year, but I think we added a couple shooters. And I just think, you know, everybody's bringing everybody back, so you can't just say, boy, if we can just be as good as we were last year. Everybody should be, on paper, everybody should be better than they were last year. You've got everybody, a lot of people have everybody coming back. You add 2 or 3 key players, so it's going to be a real interesting year.
Tony, I was going to ask you to expand on Jaden Hobbs. You talked about her 6 assists per game, but she also leads you in 3-point percentage with 45%. She leads you in free throw percentage and over 2 steals a game. I mean, how special of a player is she, and how much does she mean to your success?
Well, you know, if I was coaching the men's team, I'd say she was a real stud. She just does it all. She also leads our team. She took more charges last year than the rest of our team combined. She also averaged 15 points a game, 14.8 or something, right behind Whitney Randall. She's very unselfish. I think her assist to turnover ratio was not quite 4-to-1, which is, if you get somebody that's 2-to-1, you feel fortunate. So she can really pass it without being sloppy with it. She's unselfish. She doesn't take very many bad shots. I know at one time last year in January, so it wasn't right at the beginning of the season, she was shooting I think 58% from the field and 54% from the three, and then, you know, things tightened up a little bit. The defenses were geared to trying to stop her, and so she just is. She's a great point guard. It's a great place to have your best player, you know, because they have the ball a lot. And she also really gives the rest of our team confidence because she gets the ball to them when they need to have it. She's the best open floor point guard passer I've ever had, and it's been 30 years or so. So I've had a lot of good ones, really good ones. But she's as good at getting the ball where it needs to go as I've ever had.
So, Coach Johnson, two-part question for you. One, what a thrill that was with what you did at Kansas State last year. Didn't just beat Kansas State, ran them off the floor, so to speak, at their own place. Talk about what that win meant for your program, but at the same time, also what it means to have so many of your key guys back, from Jared to the terrific freshman year the Hammocky had, et cetera. What did that win mean for your program and putting you in the national spotlight, but at the same time, having those key guys back again for this season?
Yeah, obviously the winning at K-State was huge for our team, our program. I think the athletic department, the school in general, a lot of notoriety, a lot of things on social media with that. I think more than anything, though, just the experience of our players to do that. I think of all the other things it brought, I mean, that's something those guys will never, ever forget, and they'll remember forever. So on a personal note for them individually, fantastic. Obviously, it helped our program get some notoriety. I think it also shows you the depth of the MIAA. We beat K-State, and we finished tied for, I don't know, 6 or I don't remember what it was, in the middle of the pack there. And we can beat K-State. So, I mean, that just shows you the level of the MIAA. Yeah, obviously it's nice having all these guys back, experienced guys that play, and these guys coming back are important positions. Your point guard is obviously your most important position, so it's nice to have. We started all freshmen. All of our point guards that played every second last year until Nige came back at the very end of the year were all freshmen. So now we have experience, and I think that should pay off and make a difference for us. And we're excited for the year. I think 6th is where we should have been picked going into the season, but we'll be disappointed if we finish 6th when it's all said and done.
So one final one for both of you. When you think of elite Division II basketball programs as a whole, you look at the facility, the arena you guys play in, the incredible community support. When you watch a game, seeing the stands packed, the cheerleaders, the band, you come to Municipal Auditorium for the great MIAA tournament, and you see fans all over from Fort Hays State with the band, with the cheerleaders. It's incredible support. So if you don't mind, talk a little bit about your community support, your arena, and the whole program. It's just a fantastic overall Division II college basketball program.
Yeah, I can speak here first. Yeah, I mean, we feel like we have the best facility, best arena in the conference, and that's saying something because there's a lot of good arenas in this conference. We lead the league in attendance every year. I think we're usually close to second on the men's side. Most years behind Northern State, only one other program in the country usually. And if you win, you're going to get tremendous support. So I think when you're winning and doing well, I can't imagine there's not a better place to be in the league playing than at Fort Hays State. And I think obviously Tony's have had great success recently when they hosted a regional. I mean, just unbelievable. Coach Brown with our football team has done a great job with our football. Look at our crowds of our football team. If you can put a good product out there, they will come and support you big. And there's not a lot of Division II programs or schools or communities that can really say that anymore with the advent of, TV and all the action that's going on. Our people still come out and support us pretty strongly.
Yeah, I totally agree. We have a great game venue, but if it was empty, it wouldn't be a big deal. It'd be it wouldn't mean much. So it's just you just have to have a good team and somebody that they enjoy watching, and I think our team does a real good job of giving some of their time to the fans that do come. you know, they stick around and visit with everybody. And I know Mark's team has to run through them sometimes getting out on the floor, and that's kind of a problem. But we have great support, and our administration does a good job of putting on the game. I mean, I've never coached a game at Fort Hays State where the band wasn't there, the cheerleaders weren't there, the dance line wasn't there. They've been there at every home game, and that's just something you don't see everywhere. So it's just kind of the whole package. It's a good place to play basketball and witness a game.
Well, thank you so much, Coach Hobson, Coach Johnson, for being here. Best wishes to Fort Hays State in the 21-22 season. This concludes the 2021 MIAA Basketball Media Day. On a personal note, I'd like to thank Commissioner Mike Racy. It was a pleasure to share the stage with Brenda Van Langen and some of the finest coaches in Division II basketball in America. I'd like to finally thank Seigfreid Bingham once again for their sponsorship today of the MIAA Media Day. Thank the MIAA Network for broadcasting here today. And once again, thank the College Basketball Experience in this spectacular facility for hosting this wonderful day. That's all from the College Basketball Experience right here in Kansas City. Thank you.